we're here for FNCS Major 1, Game 7. Going crazy. FNCS. FNCS 2026, baby. Let's go.
Fortnite
Day
fam,
2.
welcome to the FNCS. Today's 6 games will determine who holds the Axe of Champions in NAC, and of course, who's going to qualify in the top 13 spots going on over to the Summit Land. Also, breaking news, in case you didn't see the updates to the Summit, go check out FN Comp on socials. There's a lot to break down on that, and we would love to take time to do that, but we have 6 games ahead of us today. There's still so much story to be told in the right here, in the right now.
Yep.
I want to bring in Kelly Link and Vivid. Friends, day 2, obviously, big announcement comes out, but right now, we're looking at a close race. And of course, if Fortnite has taught us anything, it will be Fortnite. Crazy things will happen. Players will win games. Players will lose games. Players will rise and fall. And we have 6 games to determine it all, Kelly.
Oh man, I mean, we just wrapped up EU and it was so exciting over there. Sky and Swole walking away as our winners for Major number 1 for EU, and then obviously over in OCE, more crazy things happening. Alex being the first ever 7 times winner for the FNCS finals, also getting 7 victory royales. I mean, those are the other regions though, because we are here for NA Central, and if it's anything like what we got to see from yesterday, is that we are in all for some crazy action.
Oh yeah, NA will definitely deliver. And
dude.
yeah, you mentioned it, right? EU kind of popping off earlier today. It was so funny for me to sit there and watch EU because you're kind of reminded that, hey, listen, yeah, we've got this race that's going on at the top. Every single game matters for those guys because they're so close at the top. But then decisions made by those type of players, those top of the leaderboard players, like pushing somebody who's in like 22nd place, 2 spots away from qualifying to the land. There's just so much at stake here, and we gotta keep reminding ourselves that, yeah, we are looking to crown an FNCS champion, but we're also looking to have some of these players make it to land.
Oh man, let's take a look. We have a little graphic here for the players who have already qualified on through to the summit. We can take a nice little look now. Obviously, some of the regions are all done, right? They've got themselves wrapped up, but we still need to see how things unfold for ourselves. Again, as Kelly pointed out, Sky Scroll, congratulations. Over in EU, NAC, Brazil still waiting to happen, right? Like, especially NA West, lots of big names and stories to conclude. Well, guys, obviously we only have so much time before the game start. Why don't we get into it? Why don't we start off with this lobby list, right? Or the leaderboard rather. Top 13 is what we're targeting if we want
top
to
20
hit the
here.
summit.
Top
right now,
13.
QK and Khan
Brett's
at
Leaf
197 are
Veer.
in that top 13,
Muzz and
right?
Sphinx.
Even if I look up just one more placement, Muzz and Sphinx only a point
Q-
ahead. So you know, Kelly,
QK.
coming into today, a lot of these players either have to just put it all on the line and hold on to this top 13, or if you're outside that top 13, you really need to do everything you can to break through.
I mean, QK and
Wagers.
Khan in our final game from day number 1 was a great example to show just how crazy things can shift in a single game.
Ivy.
On our page 2 for our standings, and to get that final victory royale of the day, rocketing them up to that coveted 13th
And
spot, because that is where the Dusseldorf tickets are earned. But of course, we still have 6 more games to go, and there's still some big names outside of that range, Vivid, and anything can change when it comes to Fortnite.
Yeah, the
100%.
second page is scary. It'll be interesting to keep tabs on this to kind of see
220
how this is
points at the
going
top.
throughout the day. Obviously, we know how yesterday
Flicks and
went towards the
Higgs
top
on
of the
fortune-
standings.
There we go.
1 point separated first and second place. And who
we
better
have
than Acorn and Bolt
Acorn,
and Cold and
Bolts,
Rapid to go ahead
Cold,
and fill those
Rapid,
spots up. Now,
Agers,
they just had
Ritual.
an incredible run yesterday, both of these teams, and it was all about consistency.
Those are
and
the
obviously, you know,
high
we're in
teams.
this new little bit of competitive Fortnite where storm charges change and all these players are going to have to keep adjusting their strategies and everything like that. But what made it possible for these two teams to be all the way towards the top of the leaderboard was how consistently they were able to make it into the end game. And Zeke, we know exactly how that starts. It's going to start with some of the damage down.
That's right, man. Let's take a look at some of these numbers. When we took a look at these, we were like,
Absolutely
wait, hold on.
crazy.
You said how much damage? But yeah, I mean, as we compare the two duos, I think what's interesting is when we look at zones 1 to 7, Acorn and Bolts, they have more damage, right? But Kelly, when we flip on over to those later zones, it actually flips again, right? Cold and Rapid now have more damage.
Well, it's definitely indicative of their style.
Yeah,
Acorn and
I
Bolts
mean,
liking to rotate
damage
around,
in
establish themselves with
3,659
Stormsurge attacks,
from
whereas Cold and Rapid are
Acorn
definitely
and
in-game
Bolts.
players. Destroying that mid and low ground Vivid is what they are known for.
Kind of a
Acorn
weird
Bolts
place to
definitely
land
play
in
style.
the middle of
Yeah, we can see it
Walkthrough.
right there.
And,
First and foremost, zone 1 through
Virgin
7, Acorn and Bolts
Fortress.
have more damage dealt than in the moving zones of the
That's-
game. Like, that's crazy. Usually, you're
Mid.
box to box
No,
with people, you're doing all that
mid,
shotgun
yeah.
damage. But what kicks it off is Acorn and Bolts are landing all the way on the north side of the map. They have access to a launch pad. They're, of course, going to combine the effects of a
Smart,
mist
honestly.
and an overdrive grenade to make sure that they can fly as high as they possibly can. What this allows them to do is, even though they're landing all the way on the north side of the map, they can kind of fly all the way across the map and still secure themselves a very good position
True.
inside of the zone. What this kind of allows them to do is base up, just deal
This
all the
was- that
damage that
was
they need to do,
taking
like we
place
saw
from,
zones 1 through 7. It's an
yesterday.
incredible amount of damage that they are able to do. But because they're so safe, because they're able to land in those high priority spots, they don't really take any damage.
Many
And with the
people
way
are
that the new
watching
Storm
right
Surge
now.
works, they're able to consistently make it through every single
6,000.
one of these end games, and that's why they're towards the top of the leaderboard right now.
It's so crazy. We gotta look on the other side then,
What
right? We
about-
talk about Acorn
what are
Bolts,
they
we talk about
streaming
Cold
on? They're
and Rapid.
streaming
I
on
think it's
Kick,
insane
Twitch,
that we are coming in a single
and
points
YouTube.
difference. But for these guys, they're landing middle of the map, right? So talk to me about their strategy. What has led to them being
And,
so
Prime.
successful?
I mean, it's Cold, right? I think you can just put that name right there and then everyone can see the pathway to success. When he is locked in, he really locks in. And Cold and
True.
Rapid have really shown themselves of
What's my
kind of being able to
resolution
just
right now?
handle this mid ground. They have the center of the map, which
Okay,
allows them to kind of have these easy rotations with it.
Yeah, it's going to be a similar strategy
just
to
a
what Acorn and
replay.
Bolts are doing. A little bit different, right? Because they're not going to be utilizing a launch pad, but because they do land center of the map, they're usually pretty close to all of the
Cool.
zones, right? They can kind of just walk over,
Knocks out
face up,
Cooper.
and again, from there on out, it's pretty much just the same thing. You've got this tall tower. You don't really take damage while you're in it, but you're in one of these high priority spots where a lot of teams are going to be rotating by, so you can get all of the damage dealt that you need to. And Rapid and Cold, they're focused on one thing, and that's going to be getting Cold to the end game. Finished day number 1 with the most eliminations. Guy was absolutely
was
popping
crazy.
off. If it wasn't for that
Yeah.
game 6 little fumble between them and Veno and Curve, man, I think they would have a big lead right now.
Venom and
Oh
Curve.
man, it's a
Pretty
time
good.
for redemption,
I
right? Day
think.
2 will bring new things. A lot of players have taken time to just spot review, take a step back, refresh themselves. And now we're thinking, hey, 6 brand new games. Anything can happen. Now, before we continue the conversation, why don't we go meet up with our casters? Jacob P. Arts, MDF, say hello.
Yeah.
Well, today is going to be a great day for sure, Monster. We crowned an FNCS champion, but as well as some of our duos are playing, I need to point out the individual factors that are going down in some of these games. These solo impact points that some of these guys are clutching up. We talk about the 1-point differential in first place. Well, look at that man
Bolts,
on top of the list. Bolts,
Curve,
88 solo impact
Eggs,
points. You also got Curve and
Avian,
Peterbot, who are also
Avi,
in the top 10.
Peterbot.
Osid and Viv, who are also neck and neck on that leaderboard.
They
So
don't,
I'm even wondering, when things
Show
don't
their
go your
face.
way and you got to throw the plans out the window, how will these solos perform?
Yeah, what's incredible about this is Bolts is the only one of all those players we showed there that is currently obviously in first place coming into day 2. And what's more interesting
saw
is
that
this
yesterday.
is again a notorious duo that when Acorn
In
comes
here too.
back on day 2 style finals
Eliminates
format,
Curve.
he's usually better than we've ever seen him before. So he's still doing what he normally does. He had a relatively
Maddie.
underperforming day 1, but Bolts
Eliminates
is just going crazy.
Cold.
Really putting the team
Gets
on his
another
back, really playing exceptional Fortnite, and the highlights speak for itself there, Jacob.
Yeah, that was only day 1 action so far. Peterbot kind of at the bottom of that top 5 list, 50 points. And he's the one that kind of made those exciting clutches popular in the past couple of seasons. Will that change? I don't know. We still got 6 games to find out. Zeke, Kelly, and Vivid, what do you guys think?
Jacob, I love that you bring up these solo impact points, right? We think about if we cast our minds back to yesterday, Game 6. For a moment, I thought, is this a solos competition? Because it's just every high-profile duo are all solos, right? And they come in to game number 6 and they put on such a show. But we'll have to see, right? Like I said right before, with a brand new day, anything can happen. And we're excited to see what these players have prepared for us. Because again, top 13, and we're also playing for an Axe of Champions. Now, as we continue this conversation, why don't we talk about some of the players we are excited to see? Visual and Braids immediately comes to mind. Fourth place currently with 311 points.
With the
Talk
first
to me about
game,
these
they
guys
took
in
it
the
the
lens of
first
like, what do you
game.
think they prepared coming in for day number 2?
I mean, for Visuals and Braids, I think they're just gonna, this is such a silly thing to say, but I think they're just playing standard Fortnite to the best. Bruce Lee once said, I don't fear the man that's done 1,000 kicks one time, I fear the man that's done one kick 1,000 times. And I feel like Visuals and Braids plays the same game over and over and over again. They kind of have a little bit of a passive early game, but they make sure to get a few tags. They go into the end game with just a little bit above storm damage, but they make sure to always enter the good, smart engagement, and then they disengage when they need to, and then they have a ton of heals because they didn't enter these early and mid engagements, so that they're able to survive and make it all the way to the end. And although they're not able to grab a ton of eliminations, they're still able to get those placement points. But this right here is the number that I wanted to talk about.
Looks so
They
weird.
have played 10 consecutive FNCS finals together. More
I'm
than
enough
any other team that
insult.
we have in our region.
Why aren't they
and I would
showing
be
their
hard pressed
face?
to find any other duo in the world. However,
Muslim's
Vivid,
face.
fun fact, the only other duo that has been on an FNCS finals together for 10 FNCS finals is you and me.
I was really
Braids.
wondering what team that could have maybe been. We have been here for a long time. Shout out to my duo partner here, Kelly, and of course Zeke, always keeping us on our toes. Man, I don't even know what I was gonna say after that one. Visual and Braids, 4th place on the leaderboard right now, 28 points behind first place. And I gotta tell you, Kelly, I'm happy that you kind of broke it down, because we talked about all the chaos kind of coming into this season with all the new duos. The fact that these guys have stuck together and it's working right now, really happy to kind of see how that's panning out. And I gotta tell you, I'm looking at their match history over here, and their last game yesterday was a 46th place with 0 eliminations. They got 0 points that game. If they had a good game like they did in all of the other games, they'd be in first place right now.
Fortnite fam, I hope you see that what me and Vivid see all the time again on the broadcast is that Kelly is a menace, okay? Why don't we talk about one last duo? It's Javi and
Kelly's a
Unminished.
menace.
You know, they're currently in 5th place, right? 270 points, but again, what can we expect from these guys, right? A brand new day, new strategy, time to VOD review. What are we thinking?
Well, you say the word new, and that immediately makes me think of how this team formed, and it's such a beautiful story to be written in conjunction with Visuals and Braids, because Unminished is the third of that trio that we saw them compete all last year together, and we know that Javi was originally playing with Reed throughout before Major 1, dropping him literally the week that Major 1 was starting. So to see Javi and Unminished form together and be this new duo with that juxtaposition of Visuals and Braids, make a long-lasting duo,
Makes
and
it
to
that
see
far,
them
it's
still
crazy.
doing well, playing to what their advantage is, and once again, that is just making sure that they are making it to the end game. And I know that sounds silly, Vivid, but when it comes to the FNCS, sometimes that's the most important thing.
Doesn't sound silly at all. Consistency is key when it comes down to Fortnite, and right now these guys, they have an average time alive of 20 plus minutes, so they're kind of consistently making it to those later stages of the game. A couple of fumbles I did see when I was kind of looking at some of our top teams and how many times they've been struck by Storm Surge. Unfortunately for Javi and Unminished, they were kind of up there. I think they each took like 20, around like 20 each, where some of our other top teams, I saw Visuals and Braids 0 times for both of those guys. Acorn and Bolts 0 times. So Javi and Unminished, just a couple of fumbles when concerns Storm Surge, but if they could fix that, man, they could make a run for that top 3, top 2. They could win it too.
Another duo we actually didn't talk about is currently in 3rd place. Agers and Ritual, 331 points. Kelly, that's only 8 points behind Acorn and Bolts. I mean, come on. We're going to make this happen, right?
Yeah, it's Ages and Rituals. They already got Victory Royale. They already got a 2nd place. There's a few games where they're making
They're
it
so
to the very end,
confident,
and they're
Ages
just
and
not being able to
Ritual.
stick together and survive to the very final moments. I'm talking about that 21st and 17th place game that we saw from yesterday. But Agers and Rituals are definitely within contention. It's crazy. Looking at this leaderboard, literally any of our top 8 could make some crazy plays today, Vivid, and jump into that first place.
Vivid's trying
After
to
you
show
mentioned
his
top 8,
teeth
what about
over
top 7?
dirty.
I see Clicks and Higgs sitting in 7th place right now. They started yesterday so hot. It looked like they were going to run away
did he
with the
say?
competition. Their high
Somebody
ground, it
clip
was
that.
so clean. I want to see them return to form today, have a good 6 games, and see where they end up.
Good, Viv. Will the rivalry continue, right? They're right behind Peterbot and Pollo, right? Only 6 points behind them.
By the
So
way, like
there's
the
just
way
so
that's
much
like
that
kind
can
of like
happen
blurry
today.
and stuff.
6 games to determine
That's
it
not
all.
my
Hornet fan, we
recording
hope you are
software,
as
that's
excited
just
as we
the
are.
actual
With
live
that being
stream.
said, game 7
don't think they're
is
recording
ready.
it
Let's kick
at
off the
as
competition. Casters,
good of
over to you.
quality as yesterday. I could check. I
Coming
swear.
into today, Monster,
I'm
I'm
at
looking
max
at the
quality.
leaderboard, trying to get a
Yeah.
feel of who actually
I'm at-
has a chance to win. I went
yeah,
in my
I'm
head
at
all the way
1080p.
down to 8th place, Reed and
That's what they're
Cooper. Then I thought
recording.
Cole and Madden, they're playing well. Venno and Curve, they know how to take over games.
they
Threats
lagged.
and Veer, they have been performing phenomenally. So when I go in today, I'm like, who do you really think can pull off the win?
And that's the thing, you know, we have these teams that are notoriously better on day 2, but then again, anything can happen. You see that breakaway performance. Some teams just get a little lucky. Some players just outperform, play above and beyond their usual selves, like we saw with Bolts yesterday, really taking it far here. So Jacob, I mean, I'm with you. I do think, obviously, if you're in the 300-point range, you got a great shot, but you got to prove it first.
Throughout day number 1, Monster, we've seen big games, over 100-point games, almost every single one by at least one of those teams. So I kind of agree with you. It'd be crazy to think a lot of these teams can't catch up, but with a day break in between, a chance to VOD review, fix some of these mistakes, you got a new chance at life. But Dragon, Preon, Jack, and Pen, they're still going head-to-head
N-Pen's
at
about
the
to
split
go
drop. It is going
down.
to be a 50-50
Game
instead of trying
one.
to take 2 different sides. N-Pen getting tagged up down to 26
Ooh.
HP. Jack as well. They get the first knock onto Dragon. He can't clean it up though. He just falls
You gotta
short
get
of that
N-Pen.
mark.
No!
That's up to N-Pen to try
They
to
both go
He
down.
gets taken down as well. Creon really clutching up.
Yeah, this has just gone back and forth. You know, each team having their individual moments essentially, but Creon and Dragon in the end are gonna win. And they go right into Electro, and then he exposed himself. And no, you know they're gonna push here, especially after seeing the shield crack. There's no reason not to. And not only that, don't forget, Electro was playing really good yesterday. I mean, they even got the best of
Oh, they're
Venno and
both pushing
Curve
him.
at some point. So this is not a team that you could just push
Oh.
over.
Yeah, they sounded to talk about adjustments from day 1 to day 2. Electro and Hope were one of those teams. They landed up here. They landed at Battlewood. They came back up here. So already you can see the feeling to start their day. We're going to do better off towards the top. Let these 2 teams fight it out, and let's
Paper.
try to crash as a third party and clean it up. Paper and Rezi, a few struggles yesterday. Paper going down to a little bit of fall damage in the off-spawn
Yeah.
fights. But one thing I've learned about Paper over the last 2 years is he's someone I feel like you could never count out. No matter how bleak it looks, he's somebody that usually ends up inside of the bubble.
Yeah, he finds his way, man. When there's a will,
Avenger.
there's definitely a way. And Paper is a vet that's been around the block for quite some time. Now, other teams that I want to, see a little bit more from today is obviously Venno's team in the end game. We saw how much of an explosive early game they had, finding all those extra eliminations, rotating into teams like these that are lurking on the outskirts. Jumping in with the early team fight right now is the first for Neo. Noisy have Zifta down right now. Void just playing roll around here, trying to stay in the game right now. They might have given him a little too much space to
Can
work
you
with
send me
here.
the personal footage? No.
Being a
Send you the
very
footage.
interesting position. You really
I
don't
don't
want to
even
let
have
him
it
get that
saved
res
on
off,
my
but
computer.
it's kind of
by
hard.
the
You
way.
almost leave yourself open to
If
getting tagged
I'm
up.
live,
Play a little
and
bit
then
too
I'm just
aggressive.
clicking
Third
the
parties
live
are all
stream.
around on this side. EO, he's going to be able to clean up that first knock. The elimination. Decides to
Putting
quickly
into
goes in, gets the
video.
materials. That could be the
It's
difference
not
maker in him
really hard.
surviving and going down to Neo. He's looking to press in this fight.
Definitely like what I'm seeing right now, but
Am
the
I
end of
just
the
live
day,
at- yeah, I'm just live
Neo
at
gets a little
Twitch.
opportunity to
Don't
back
stream
off, and
anything else.
it's good for him to do that. They understand the general area dynamic
stream
is that there
YouTube,
are
but
other
not
duos
Twitch.
here as well, right? This is no
Why do I keep saying this? I
surprise
stream YouTube
to
and
them
Twitch.
at least, obviously. Given
That is
yesterday they had
what I
all types of
stream
third
on.
parties show up. Tyler and Chance on the other side seem to be doing things a little differently here.
From Battlewood,
If you
they know
guys are
that
looking
team
for
is
my,
working south. That's
YouTube channel live.
They're lurking
It's
up on one, just a
MDF
little
Max
cheeky
Plays.
shot, not much to build confidence. They realize they have the numbers advantage. They're trying to take it while they can and instantly get that first knock on the slips without even taking too much damage, Monster. That's
Chance.
one thing we always point out in moments like this. It's great to get the elimination, but how much damage did you
Threats,
take back because of Surge?
replay.
Threats, Veer winning their off-spawn fight as well, but you got to be careful. Veer was down to a sliver of HP.
Yeah, talking about that damage
they're
exchange,
pushing
that's
him.
not the kind of position you want to be in when you're finishing it up. A lot of it obviously is
I wish
gifted
FNCS
right
like
back to the
football
opponents.
games.
Such a different dynamic, the way Surge plays out. Chance and Tyler doing a good job right here, though. Pushing down Toronto.
Well, one
Toronto
thing
missing those
is, like,
important shots that are at least going to buy him a little bit of room. Gets one counter
Crazy
fire off,
plays
but
happen, but
in the
you
end,
see
Tyler
they're
and Chance
moving
find themselves
little
with
bit
a clean
slower
elimination
towards,
here.
like,
And
3-hour
Jacob,
mark
a lot
because they've
of
been
players are
playing
now
3 hours
officially
straight.
eliminated this game. We're down to just 76 or so. You see even Peterbot
Listen to
there,
Higgs.
recognizing that they have to play for a big game right now. You know, Peterbot's someone that yesterday towards the tail end, I'd say the last 2 or 3 games, seemed to be playing really aggressive in the early end.
Yeah, I think you kind
Yeah,
of
they
realize,
did get a
especially
lot
with
of
a lot of
kills.
these teams, Clicks and Eggs, Peterbot, Poyo, and you even saw Acorn and Bolts in some instances where they were either on the line of Storm Surge barely ahead or in some instances below that actual damage threshold. So sometimes you're going to have to think differently and probably pull out one of your tricks. We know Peterbot can get aggressive and flip that switch in a moment's notice, but I think a lot of players are feeling that same way, whether they're contested or not. I think Kelly was one of the ones that spoke about
Nico.
the point differential in eliminations
They're
from a
just
1 point
sitting
format,
here
a
right
3
at
point
that
format.
other
This
team
is
sitting
4
there.
points per elimination.
That's-
We broke it down yesterday. The very last major that we had in
G
NA Central was
Monster.
decided by 3 points. That's 1 elimination. Honestly, that's 2 placings difference to winning the actual FNCS.
Yeah, and we saw, like, there was a moment yesterday when Clix was going for that Victory Royale that they knew, and he knew he had to risk it all, and he was willing to go into the storm just to try to secure those extra eliminations. He knows better than anyone how close things can get towards the end.
Ooh.
Want to put it all on the table for G-Monster and Magma, though. You can see there, they have officially been exposed here.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah, they're not so good.
kind of breaks all the builds. Gets you a little bit of shields, but doesn't really help when you're already full shield. G-Money just trying to go ahead and move in, help out Magma. He takes a big shot straight to the face. Neko's going to attack from the other side.
Neko.
20's there, still trying to put pressure, but playing a little bit more careful. Doesn't have shields, can easily get one shot here. Instead
G-Monster.
of using it, he's just trying to put down pressure with
He's holding
Neko. But now that
light.
Magma and G-Money have healed up, it might be a wise decision to finally pop those heals. Eventually, that wave will burst through this area and break all the builds about if you're ready for it. 20 with a cheeky angle, landing some good shots onto G-Money yet again. This is such a claustrophobic fight here with 20 and Neko still having a huge advantage.
Great angles, however, they've already gone through 2 of their Flowberry miss, so big investment so far. This has to come to a
Magma.
screeching halt here soon, or it's not going to be looking good for anyone involved in this fight right now.
Magma and G-Money.
G-Money jumps back over, gets some of those extra heals, and
Yeah.
I think they're trying to find the exit strategy.
They're trapped in
It's
here
not
with
every
this
day you
other
see fights
team.
going down
Like, literally,
underneath
They don't
in these
have
tunnels
any
where there's
room
kind
to
of the 2
breathe.
ways in and out that you kind of port through, then usually one exit.
crazy.
So we'll see if that fight does continue or either teams do try to disengage out. Peterbot Poyo this time around. I know you talked about that one elimination, but it seems like teams are getting more and more comfortable rotating in towards Swiftly Shores. Maybe you have to account for yesterday, one of the big focal points of their
Peterbot
strategy was
dropped
building that
what?
massive surge tower just outside towards the gas station. Teams are maybe saying, hey,
By the way, yeah,
go
the
in,
points
sneak
did
some,
not
maybe try to
reset.
get out.
It's just
But a different
because
change of
of,
pace for Peterbot and
the
Poyo.
next
They're actually going
6
in, looting up the
ends of
entire
FNCS.
POI. So
They
for
keep the
CDZ and
points,
Raven,
but
this
the,
might be a
like,
chance
the
for them to
in-game
lurk
points
or get caught
reset.
off guard.
Yeah, definitely. Or you can think about how aggressive they were playing. They were actually leaving their POI to try to fight other teams. So for CDZ and Raven, maybe some of their strategy revealed to them, like, we can kind of come around. They might not even be here. But clearly not the case here in
Ritual.
Unit 1. Virtual
Ritual
Agers
and
can't
Agers.
quite catch a lurk onto Visual Embrace. That would have
Oh
been
my
a
God.
massive elimination right there.
Ritual
One that
and
would have
Embrace.
surely shaken up the leaderboards.
Spraying Aegis and
Given that
Ritual
both teams
out.
are neck and neck right now.
Trying to get
Visual
the
and
win
Braids
there.
get lucky
I
enough
feel
here.
like they could.
Don't let their guard down.
They're trying to get a kill.
Yes,
They're in the
The
middle
blessing
of
and the curse
2
for
other
Visual
teams.
Braids, though, is because
that are
in the
both
last
full
game
health.
of the day yesterday, they went down to a team lurking on this
131
exact spot.
builds-
Vigil and Braids, for the most
builds.
part, since they land just outside of Dark
142
Dominion on this
builds
split
on
drop, and
Braids.
there's mountains. And then on top of that, Monster at center zone, how much better can it get? They usually stay here for the first 4 to 5 zones, depending on where it pulls, and consistently gets damaged, because no matter where the zone goes, north, south, east, or west, the chances are very, very high. Teams will
Acorn
have
and
to
Bolts,
rotate
Sphinx
around
and
Vigil
Muzz
Braids
are right behind
in order to
them.
get inside of the zone. They just make it a huge focal point of their strategy. So if you guys VOD reviewed yesterday, coming in today, you can kind of see that in terms of Vigil and Braids. Maybe you can try to plan around it. But Acorn and Bolts, with Vivid breaking down their rotation from the backside of their POI, that long launch pad that they mix with the utility, and another instance of that as they quickly get to
Sphinx and Cooper.
One of two
I mean,
teams that
Sphinx
had a
and Muzz
near
are
perfect
fighting
day for the
King
most part.
versus King Peace. Peace
Really
goes
dropping on
down.
rounds, but talking about
Cooper
teams
and
falling
Soul
short
Clutch
right now. You have Greek falling
versus
here.
Sphinx
Off
and
from a
Muzz.
team in the distance. Muzz and Sphinx recognize the danger immediately after the Flowberry miss comes down, and in they go to get the finish
Gets
up
the
right
finish
there.
on Muzz. I mean,
It
not
does
Muzz.
seem like they are now rewarded with all that extra loot. Cooper rotates right into CDZ Raven, puts down some good
Right
pressure
there,
onto
bro.
Raven there. But do they recognize there could be just a solo here on the other side of the wall? That is the question here. I think Cooper knows
He's rotating.
he's in big danger here, so off he
He's
goes.
rotating straight
Just
towards
continues to
Peter
get
Pan and
worse.
Polo.
Look at where he's rotating into.
Oh,
Peterbot and Boyo. And they're one team for certain. If they know you're a solo, especially
Oh.
isolated like this, they're gonna
There they
go.
go.
They see
It's a
Cooper
2v1
trying to
again.
rotate in. Big damage coming out from the both of them. Cooper
There's
backed
no
up
way
against the
he
wall. They
can
continuously
pull
try
that
to
off.
sprayed in. Just one of those shots needs to breathe through the builds in order to connect, in order to get that elimination. But Cooper is swiftly moving in and outside of these builds, drop the bids, is able to get minimal amount of shield.
I don't
He's
think
able to
he
help
can.
him
There's
survive his
no
onslaught,
way,
at least
Muzz.
for an extra couple of
There
seconds
is
here, but
no
Peterbot and Boyo continuously
way.
on the look. Again, they know
mean,
this player,
I mean,
Cooper, is
Cooper
a
is-
solo,
how-
so they're not going to stop
I was
until they
gonna say, he
secure
stayed
that
alive for a
elimination.
good
4
amount
more
of
points
time.
for Peterbot and Boyo in a game that's looking very, very accelerated.
Gifted that time around as well, just landing right on them as they were trying to finalize their
Curve.
metal reserves for the mid game here. Meanwhile, look at this, Veno in
walking up
curve.
on
No elims
Veno.
just yet. This is definitely a
I mean, not
huge
Veno.
surprise to us as we've seen them
That's Venom.
be overly
Veno's
consistent
walking
when it
up
comes to elims in the early
on
game.
King and Ivy.
What is Veno gonna do? Is he gonna chop this down? Like, I'm curious at this point.
It's much easier to chop than some of the metal and
It's just
brick
wood.
bases that we're seeing. He's going for it. Doesn't look like Aviv or King
Hold
got
up.
the signal
Oh,
yet. At
here
the
they
tail
come.
end, they're dropping
This
down.
is his.
It's actually Veno. Yeah, this was actually Veno's base, so maybe they had an inkling he was going to lurk on over. Not sure if they got the audios or not, but able to survive a potential disaster there as Veno just scurries away, reunites back with Curve, who already has his base set up at one of the main buildings north side of the Battlewood Boulevard. But you see where the zone is actually pulling, so you see why Veno and Curve are taking a different mountain or a different approach to this game than usually every other.
Yeah, definitely interesting there. Almost edited the whole base down. Just had to break an extra piece of wood there. Ends up working out though in the end. Brett's V are on the other side. There's two
Let's have
elims
a good
here.
one.
Have them set up, and it's a bit of a different end game for us.
I'm
Right?
back.
We have Riptides in the zone right now.
Veer.
See how this ends up playing out. All the zones that came this way, pretty much Clicks and Higgs performed absurdly well. See if they can continue to pick up the
Cold
pace
and
here
Rapid.
propel themselves back
On
into a top
East.
3 position. Cold and Rapid on the other side were the team that was finding all those eliminations in the end game, right? The amount of
Rapid-
success Cold and Rapid managed to string
Right there
together when it came to
Sphinx and
in-game
Muzz.
eliminations clearly showed on the standings, Jacob, given that they had just
They're
an
going to Storm. I think
insane
it's
amount of
a
points
1-2.
based off of elims alone.
Yeah, in 5 games, Monster, they had 30 eliminations, with their worst game being a 7th place. Unfortunately, that last game of the day, they got 1 elimination. They went down in 26th place, so outside of placement points, so all they got is those elims, which allowed for Acorn and Bolts, who's been consistent all of day 1, to get that
Yeah.
1-point lead with the Victory Royale. See how things continue to shake out. Javi and Aminish here, sitting on the leaderboard,
Oh,
fifth place
replays
going
lag.
into this game. And this is where there's a little bit more of a gap. Everybody in the top 4 has 311 points or more.
I don't know how they
Javi and
spectate
Aminish
this
sitting
well.
at 270
Like,
points on the overall tournament. You can see 15th place with 4 eliminations was going to be
I'm
their
not
starting game,
spectating,
and
but,
each
like,
and every one got better.
Commentating. Yeah, that's the word for it. Really
Finish Hobby
commentating.
here on the move.
Yeah, I
Playing the
can't fix
outside.
it.
I
It's
kind of
ju-
like
it's
this, right?
just
Using
the-
this storm to tank
it's
here and
just
go
the
for
way
the north
it
side.
is.
Definitely is a strat. Now this definitely is a strat. Now this is a team that didn't tank Storm. Definitely
1080p.
is a
Yeah,
strat.
this
Now
is
this is a
his
team
high.
that didn't tank Storm early, right? So they actually have the luxury, Jacob, here to take a little bit of Storm, right?
This is
Other
just
teams
a
will find
stream.
themselves more in the Storm sickness kind of danger zone, but here they are.
Yeah, when Storm
Zone
comes
moves
in, it's
right
kind
into
of
them now, and they have
Yeah.
relatively strong positioning here.
curve
on
in
that
Veno.
mountain. So you can easily
Did he
pull off of
push?
that mountain, but if you're up there, you can shockwave off. You can go ahead and take
Great
high, or
position.
simply use the running shockwave to cover distance. Fifth zone, going into 6, so it is going to be a 2 tick of damage if you're inside of the storm. Going to be changing into
Someone
a 5
tell
in
me.
about 20 seconds when it does close. But you're seeing
Did
why a lot of
Braids
these
change
teams
the
are
scaling
staggering
game?
themselves so long into the storm. They have extra white HP heals, and they just want to dodge all the chaos.
Oh
of this
yeah, I
mid
didn't
game.
even realize that.
Typically,
They
you
do
will
have
take damage
pretty good white.
from other players trying
200
to rotate
chug
in.
and 2
Visual Rage, they
splashes.
spot out Max,
I
they
think
spot out Moppings
each
in the
splash
distance.
is
You see them
20,
kind of building and but rotating
140
parallel to make sure they don't take
white.
too much damage. Bucky and Zen, though, they're in the
As
fray,
well
in the
as
mix. You see them teeter
140
tottering up and down below that damage
240
threshold.
shield.
As the dust settles, they're going to fall below, but Zen once again takes some damage, 103.
Ooh,
and
Bucky
gets a
and
good
Zen.
shot coming out from Bucky onto power, back to back to get the elimination as well. That sends him flying up that Storm Surge leaderboard.
That was crazy. Big performance, big opportunity there for Bucky to keep his team in the game now. They went from danger territory to well above and safe now. They just have to survive the onslaught. And look at this. They eliminated that team long before they can even get situated and start digging into the heals that they were pretty much saving up here in the
Agers.
reserves. But Ritual, it is not looking good for him right now as he is down and out. This is all up to Agers now.
Ritual's died,
He's putting his
it's
team
now
up
up
back
to
here.
Agers
Picks
to
up a little bit of the
solo
loot
push.
that was left over, but couldn't quite get the extra heal here. We'll see if he ends up having time to double back now as the zone is pushing there. There it is.
Yes,
And luckily for him, I mean, the pressure eases up. Now, we are in the in-game, right? So Agers is positioned just well enough with shockwaves, all the extra mats and heals here to actually clutch this out and turn this still into a positive-sum game for them.
Yeah, it's 264 above the damage threshold. That can
Agers,
teeter-totter
right
potentially
in
where the
front.
zone goes.
Oh,
Easily try to go ahead and grab
Sniper
shots on players
dude
rotating through the
goes
sky. He's
down.
not the only solo there. You see Salt
Peter
and
Vine
some
Boyle
others on that
absolutely
side of the map.
dominating.
Easing the tension though, since they're all solo, the chances of getting pressed on are going to be very, very slim. As opposed to this side of the map where you have Peter Boyle and a few other duos positioned 600 above the damage threshold. And you're seeing almost a different approach to start the games yesterday to start the games today. Yesterday, they were elevated pretty high up in most of these end games, going from zone to zone. This time around, they're going to start at the low ground and probably elevate themselves with each and every passing zone.
Yeah, correct.
Gonna have to definitely find some new positioning. Not sure if I've ever seen Peterbot and Boya be so passively tucked in the low ground on the backside of zone here. Look at this. The zone's going to pull far and away.
Veno.
Now, again, they have that natural terrain to play off of here, so they're going to get a lot of value for their shockwaves. Real catch is if opponents start to base up sooner rather than later and get pretty much a bit of that high ground, they will
Yeah.
be able to
Hey, is it
be
Quick
opened up to a
and
bunch of
Haste
fire. Threats and Veer
With
find
the
themselves below the surge. They're
Ooh.
actually trying to out-survive this, waiting for the
126
moving zone here
below
as opposed
surge.
to looking for a fight right now. So
Ooh.
this is a team that's going to be fishing for damage here on the moving storm.
crazy.
126
builds,
below,
too, by the
even with
way.
that contested off spawn fight. You got to
They can
imagine.
easily die
Since it is
here.
off spawn, 100 HP. If they
There you go.
saw Spear down
At
to
this
sliver of
point,
HP at
just
one
go
point,
out
start
and
the
fight
game. So
because you're not gonna
just
get.
because you're contested,
you're
just
just gonna
because
get
you win
worse and
doesn't mean
worse.
it's all joy at the end of the day. But you were right. It does look like their first attempt is going to be to out heal it. But 17 players need to go down. They're
You
just
just
on that
go, you have to
945
go.
damage. They spot Skiddler and his duo above. They're trying to
60
get one of those
below.
shots to bleed
Come on,
through.
you guys
They
need
have
a
the
little bit
Thunderbird,
more tags.
consistent pressure, but no luck on their side. 60 below, taking damage. They have
Veer
no
and
extra
threats.
heals monster in this moment. They
15
are going to jump
above.
above. Storm Surge for them is not going to be a thing, but they need to be persistent, try to put down the pressure, because just because they're ahead here doesn't
113
mean they're going to be
above.
ahead in the next zone.
Surge.
Peterbot Boya, though, continue to do what they do. We said that they were looking uncharacteristically positioned on the backside of zone. You can see it's
Yeah.
ending up playing out in their favor. They find
Clicks
a
and
heal in
Higgs
here,
on
and then they
height.
rotate in
Once
smoothly right
again.
afterwards. But when you start looking up towards height, when you start looking at who's trying to position for the big win once again
It's
here,
always
it's
Clicks and
Clicks
Higgs.
and Higgs. I love that they're trying to take on this identity as a
Oh.
high ground team, and when that's willing to
Literally,
put
yeah.
everything on the line doing it.
Yep. 8 zone though, we've seen
don't
so
have
many
too many builds,
instances
though,
yesterday
that's
with
the
team after team after
Need to
team
keep in
sending it
mind.
for that high ground, trying to fight. Agers was one of them, but it's not going to be one of them in this game. 77 below the damage threshold by himself, tries to
only
sneak a
reason
shot
I'm
in onto
doing, like, a
Jarku and
video on this
Carillion.
dude is
Doesn't
'cause I
find
know
any love
some
there, but
people
he needs to be persistent
aren't
because he is
watching the
out
live
of
right
heals.
now.
165 HP. He can only take about 8 ticks
We
of the
still
zone
wanna see
total,
it.
even if he was full health, and those ticks are being a huge difference maker, forcing him to try
I mean,
to
it's
make a play
funner
here.
watching the live,
145, he's gotta
honestly,
be able to
because
make it
he,
above
like,
in that last
it's
one because
live
the shockwave
happening
of somebody
right
else.
now,
Now it's
and
his
you
turn to
don't
try
know
to
what's gonna
shockwave in. He
happen.
takes that same
It
amount
has
of
to be
damage. The
talked about,
blessing
yeah.
here, though, Monster, for him is Storm Surge just deactivated.
That's right. We are
I'm
inside
still-
that top
I'm
40
still
from the
rooting
high
for
ground, though.
Clicks
Clicks
and
and Higgs doing
They're
exactly what
doing
they do best.
good.
Already finding several sets of elimination, little extra damage onto what looked to be Curve and Higgs there. But while we look away, Zen tries to come up here. This is, of course, Bucky and Zen trying to make
can't
a play
even
for
make
high,
it
but
up.
Clicks and Higgs shut it down, and they remain successfully
He just
in
blocked
control
them
here
off.
at the moment. Now, do keep in mind, they
Higgs
committed
goes back
very
up.
early here, and they didn't have max
going
material.
down.
All that they're trying to do right now is show that they are willing to dominate height here
Eliminate
and play
Bucky.
for the win.
Clicks
Yeah,
eliminate.
Higgs finally getting that
No, that
elimination,
was
getting cleaned up for Bucky.
Sphinx
Looking towards the
eliminated.
backside of the zone, trying to find Loop. And
Everybody
instead he finds
getting
Tyler Chance.
eliminations
Not
right
sure if they
now.
see Peterbot Poyo either. They're going to
Poyo-
shockwave to the front. Not
Holy,
just
Poyo
yet
barely
going for
took
height. We
anything,
still got a
and
few more zones for that to be a
it's attention.
possibility. But if you look at their material count, they might have to get an elimination first. Muzz and Sphinx would be above. Acorn and Bolts down below in the mud. Find themselves 2 more eliminations
Unless
here.
it's
Acorn
20.
not getting one, so no siphon for him. So he has to beeline it to the zone. Not a lot on the Chug Jug either. So a dangerous position here for Acorn to be in.
And there's
Very
opponents in the storm as
Rage
well.
goes
Bolts is
down.
Somewhat left behind here,
Cold.
trapped in the build. Meanwhile, Cold and Rapido, a single Elim, but this is where we've seen them do best. I
Yeah.
won't count Cold out any further, as I've done that once before, and I made the mistake by saying so. Venno, Curve on the other side have
Yeah.
4 eliminations. Pressure coming in here.
Venno
This is
and
what we
Curve.
wanted to see from Venno and Curve. Yesterday, they just couldn't quite figure out their end game and find
Enough.
their footing.
Clicks
But
and
now
Higgs
here
are
we
on the
are,
massive
seeing a
fight.
stronger than
Honestly
ever
doing
Venno.
really good.
Yeah, and they have almost maxed out materials compared to everybody else. Peterbot Poyo running out, trying to get into the box. They don't find any opportunities there. So they
Yo,
just
mash
continue
on
on
Poyo.
getting to the front side of the zone. Chug Chugs, pizzas. Poyo
3
has
kills
plan B ready
this
if it
game.
does come down to it. But high ground
Clicks
gets
down.
contested. Clicks falls.
Clicks.
Higgs being forced out of zone. It's Salt and enough. A whole new team entering into the mix, ready
Higgs
to make day number
comes to
2
solo
count
clutch.
here. They already
Enough.
have those 3 eliminations. They're
And
looking
Salt
up, making sure
are
nobody
on
else is up
height
there.
now.
They don't see anybody, so they
Oh!
immediately set their eyes back to
Curve
down low.
and Venno
that was
go
the
up to height
distraction.
and
That
steal
was the
it.
mistake. Flying from outside
And
of the zone.
eliminate
Curve
enough.
and Venno are now our new teams on high ground.
Excellent execution as well, from
They
practice to
solved
putting it into play here. Curve and Venno have the high ground here. No heals though, so we'll keep an eye on them. Poyo is down and out. Peterbot left to clutch this up by himself. He makes it right into the top 10. It's a little bit of
Ooh.
HP there, but unfortunately will fall just short. Now Curve and Venno assessing the situation here. They have mats to play with. They have the height and the distance from the rest of the
They-
opponents, but can they put the pressure down?
Sphinx and
Yeah,
Muzz
coming into
are
this
still
game in 10th place
not too
on the
healthy right
leaderboard,
here.
not where they have hoped. And one thing we were both
And what
questioning is
else?
what is going wrong in their mid to end games, because if they can make it there, they can make the plays happen, and they're showing it here early in game number 1. Cold and Rapid get pushed. Cold goes down, a sacrifice for Rapid. He gets the Elim, and he's trying to get out. Wagers goes down
Yeah.
to Muzz and Sphinx. This is just chaos ensuing on the low ground, and for
Ooh,
Muzz and Sphinx, they
Rapid
might be
goes
the
down.
only duo left alive down below, because Rapid goes out,
Help.
Aloe goes down. They
Eliminates
have full
Twist
control
Cold.
of the bottom side of the map.
Sphinx.
Now, if they could just get a little bit of material
Sphinx
here
and
off
Muzz
one of
are
these
still
refreshes, they'll be in
alive.
huge shape here
Getting
to
a
actually
little
fight
bit of
for
a
the win right now.
refresh.
There it is, the
Max.
most important Elim. Venno and Curve are really down and out. They're pretty much
They're
down bad
low
here.
on
This is going to
Max.
come down to all
Really low on
accuracy.
Max.
See Venno just trying to use the
Oh,
audio
dang.
visuals. The
Knocks
mythic
Sphinx.
pump takes down
He needs
Sphinx,
Siphon.
gets the Siphon, or at least he's trying to keep himself
Ooh.
alive. Playing Disruptor against Muzz, Curve, and Venno.
Venno,
Start
take
day
it.
number 1, game 7 on fire.
And Venno is that guy. He's the guy that we knew that coming into a second day, he's going to tweak the game plan. He's going to make sure he's going to be able to perform here, Jacob. And they did just that. What a win for them right there. They're going to wrap up the first game here on the second day. Game 7, Zeke, is now officially wraps.
Venno! Venno, no way! Did I just see that insane shot? Venno, oh, I cannot believe this, guys. I I thought to myself, game 1 has to start strong, right? Like, game
Yeah.
1 of 6 today has to start strong. And Curve and Veno get a 9
Like,
elim
absolute
victory
crazy.
royale. Kelly, I'm losing it.
Yes, you are, but they aren't. And I think that there was a lot of us wondering if they were losing it after day number 1, ending the day off in 10th place, which, you know, reasonably isn't that bad of a position. But when it's Curve and Veno, we were kind of expecting them to be in the top 5 after day number 1. But if they continue to play like this, Vivid, if they're able to run that mid game and then wait for the opportune moment to steal height, just like they did in game number 7, then I can imagine we'll be seeing Curve and Veno climbing up that leaderboard as the day goes on.
I mean, Veno coming over to NA, he was one of those players that people were kind of expecting to see up on the high ground, and that conversation kind of fizzled out. It felt like kind of, you know, coming into these grand finals, Clix and Higgs, Peterbot and Pollo, they were the 2 main contenders that everybody was kind of talking about. And it feels like finally in game number 7, we get to see exactly why those initial thoughts of Veno looking to control the high ground were even a thing to begin with. And I gotta tell you, this is very, very scary for this grand finals and everybody that was above Veno and Curve at the start of today. Because yesterday in day number 1, they did not have any singular game where they got better than 10th place. This was their first time jumping into the single digits of placements, and they win it. And they look disgusting. I mean, that shot right there from Veno, you guys couldn't see me. My jaw was literally as far down as it possibly could go. He looks like he's in form right now. The duo's looking good. They made it to the end game all the way, and they were on the high ground. I don't know. I'm scared.
Oh my gosh, this is why sometimes we talk about like day 2 teams, right? Day 2, they come back even stronger. Has Veno been set free? Is he off the leash? Is he going crazy? Oh, wow. Okay. Don't worry. We still have 5 games left to go. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, you know we have to take a look at those standings because there's been some
They
changes.
take
We'll
too
see you in
many
just a
breaks.
minute.
They're usually 5 minutes. This one's only 2.
Two teammates have his back. Where's Nash? Gets the drop on Marius. Stays alive. They're targeting out Vanya. Dreaming on.
Who's this?
100! I got here. I'm popping in that bit. Wait, sure.
Here's me.
Got 6 builds? No.
You're watching right now. Me.
Wait, if you're mid play. 100! 100!
Oh! You guys can't lie. That was clean by me. I was live that time.
And I don't know how
I
to feel
didn't
about
record,
it.
though.
You're not used to losing. Getting beaten?
Not like this. These players are just so locked in.
Could it be the milk?
Yeah. That point's gonna fill the whole room.
Stay there.
Stay there.
Welcome back, Fortnite fam, to the FNCS game 1 of the day. 7 overall goes over to Curve and Veno. 9 Elim. Victory Royale. Now, I mentioned before the break, these standings are going to shift. Kelly called out, yeah, Curve and Veno were in the top 10. You know, that's kind of crazy. But, you know, Kelly, it just takes one game of Fortnite to kind of change everything around. And, of course, wouldn't you know it, Curve and Veno have actually jumped up from that 10th place. 327 points. I guess, Kelly, without spoiling it, where do you think they landed? I'm going to answer for you. Top 5!
Okay, top 5. That's just what we were talking about. And
Good
you
answer,
can
good
see
answer.
that calling
Peter
from
and
Sundown
Poyo
from many
still
years
don't
ago, the
have a
Shupening is happening right now. From 1st to 5th
Clifton
place, we
Higgs
have around a
47.
71-point difference. And we know that 71 points is easily gained in a single game, Vivid. So to see Curve and Veno, who are at the bottom of this list in page number 1, jump up all the way, I
Curve
feel like
and
not
Veno
only
are not
inspires
at
me,
the
but
bottom
also
of the list.
inspires the rest of the lobby to do the same.
Yeah, huge for them to go ahead and do this. And coming into today, Kelly kind of already talked about how many points they are behind right now. Coming into today, after the first 6 games on day number 1, Curve and Veno, when they were sitting in 10th place, and Golden Rapid were sitting in 1st. 113 points was the difference between Veno and Curve and 1st place after day number 1. Like Kelly mentioned, they're now 71 points behind, which means that they closed the gap that game by 42 points. So technically speaking, if we were to run that exact game number 7 back 2 more times, Curve and Veno would be in 1st place right now. Anything's possible. These standings are a lot closer than it currently may seem. And Zeke, can we just talk about this elimination column? How in the heck are these guys leading right now? They have 40 eliminations.
They are getting active, Vivid. That is what's crazy, right? The overall placement they have may not be the craziest, right? But, I mean, when you have 40 eliminations, 40, they have an average placement of 17. But it doesn't matter, right? This is what that difference maker was of that additional point from Elims. But, guys, also just look at this leaderboard, right? Look at the little numbers right next to their placement, right? We see Golden Rapid, Acorn and Bolts, they swap places, but everyone else besides Veno and Curve have not moved, right? That top 6 right before they jumped in here are all pushing forward together. It's so insane. I mean, even look at like Peterbot and Poyo and Clicks and Higgs, and now we also have to look at Javi and Aminish, because Clicks and Higgs are now tied with them points wise, but Peterbot and Poyo are only 10 points ahead of them. I just can't believe how close all of this has become after a single game, Kelly.
Yeah, and I mean, we're taking a quick look at Peterbot and Poyo right now, and that looked actually like that could have been a very successful game for them. However, Peter was a solo player towards the end right there and did go down, I believe, in 9th place. There was a moment in that game, though, where it looked like they were taking a peek up onto Height. They saw that it was Clicks and Higgs, and for sure I thought they were going to go and steal for Height again. But it didn't look like it went that way for them, Vivid. However, it does seem like they're already starting to change up their strategy just a little bit from what we saw from day number 1. So I can expect some more changes as well as the day goes on.
Yeah, I saw a little bit more aggressive plays out of them. I mean, we're kind of used to that in past seasons. It looked like they were going for a couple of extra fights, but I mean, once again, we jump over to them when they're in the end game, and they just have nothing, you know, no builds to kind of work with. Not sure what's happening on some of those rotates to where they have to invest so much stuff, but we have not been able to see Peterbot and Poyo be healthy enough in the end game to kind of push for any of these victory royales.
You know, and it's tough, because this is just the first game of the day. We have 5 more, but we also can't really skip a beat, can we, Vivid? Like, we need to make sure now more than ever we are minimizing those little mistakes or whatever. Like, again, look at the top of the leaderboard, right? We came in, Acorn and Bolts was 1 point ahead because of this last game. Acorn and Bolts fell in 12th place with only 2 elims. You look up, Cold and Rapid, a 4th place with 3. This is going to come down to this over like the next 5 games, right, Kelly? A single mistake. Everybody is taking steps farther and farther up the leaderboard. A single mistake will suddenly shift everything. And enough of those chained together, suddenly the point thresholds are going to see that patented Shupening like Sundown called out.
Well, you say these single mistakes, and I think in reflection of that is that you can't just have these teams that are kind of playing a little passively, right? They're going for placements. Maybe they get a handful of eliminations. You need these teams that are able to pull out these pop-off games. And that is why Cold and Rapid, although they might not be having these wins that all these other teams in our top 5 are having, they did have that 11 elimination second place. So these pop-off games are now what's going to be separating our top from the rest of the lobby.
Golden Rapid, man, they continue to be consistent. They're trying to pull away. A couple of teams are on the hunt. 5 more games to do it.
Oh man, let's get right back into
My
a
dark
game.
dog
8
is
is ready, so
barking.
casters, take it away.
Monster, they're talking about 5 games left. It almost feels like that's a lot of time, but you and I both know these games will go quick. We already seen an accelerated game 1 in terms of eliminations.
Yeah, definitely. That game 1 started off so fast. We looked up, 76 players were eliminated or left in the lobby. There was no first kind of surge warning that we're really used to seeing with ED+. So we just kind of jumped into the mid game and things were so different. The dynamic, you can tell, is already shifting. You know, there's something new in the air here, and our top teams are starting to break away. So let's just go on the battle bus one more time.
Standings are just getting so much closer than ever before, and you can even look down to that qualification spot into the top 13. That is as stacked as the race at the top of the leaderboard. So we'll have our eyes peeled on both the top and those qualification spots throughout the day. But
See if
Curve
they
and
do.
Veno, when I was kind of looking at some of those stats, there are the top 5 players in damage. Curve and Veno are 2 of those 5 players. Both of these guys are firing all cylinders. And this is when we were going into the heats, Monster. I was talking about the makeup of this team. Obviously, the accolades aren't there on Curve, but it reminds me so much of that Queasy and Veno duo that dominated EU for so long.
Yeah, I can definitely see it. And, you know, we called it out at several different points last time. Game 1, Curve and Veno's, you know, ability to ambush multiple teams at different vending machines was honestly commendable. And then we tune in like game 3 or 4, and they have like 7 elims in the early game. So clearly they have figured that part out. And if today it's all end games with Veno and Curve, I mean, all they've been doing all season long is practicing psychoing for height and dominating, right? And hey, this is the 3rd time now Veno basically makes an end game, 2 of which he went for high ground. So he's showing us if he's got a shot at it, they're gonna take it.
Seen so many teams really kind of emerge and their game plan set in stone, but these quick off-spawn fights really prove to kind of be the difference maker. Taking Mafia against Jack and NPen, already 1 elimination being cleaned up by NPen. Mafia is going to be the one going down, but they kind of switch up their drop spot a little bit. It's not too far away from the split drop towards the left, but they're actually full committing to the south side of Frigid Fortress this time around. Not sure if it's a bus path change or an overall game plan adjustment, but for Jack and NPen, that might be the difference maker, but you got
All
to be
these
careful
contenders,
because you got
all these
Minish
people are
on the
big
other side, you got
contenders.
Osin and Scare on the north
Can't
side,
lie.
so it's not going to be as free as it seems.
There's a lot going on here. Definitely, they're kind of in the mix here. Now they do have, like you said, that early elim here, so it's a single player left in the duo. Tick there, just hiding out, trying to buy his time here. Seems like he finally finds an opportunity to jump back in the mix. Jack has to come to the rescue. Did he get a way in? There it is, but oh my gosh! What a shot by the Tick here. And this is what, you know, this is what happens at the highest level of play, right, Jacob? Like, anything can happen. Pros do have their moments where they end up clutching up, and although he does get full finish here, it doesn't matter. NPen is now in a much worse position.
Yeah, NPen is just hoping that Osid and Scare get bored. They don't look for him, and you can kind of see in the feed that NPen did not get eliminated. But in comes Dragon and Creon. This might be a blessing for NPen to try to get out. He does have the zip line, though. Leaves you open to taking shot. Creon Dragon not slowing down. Big shot onto Osid. It's going to push him back into the box. They have to try to find a way out. Creon's there on the other side. They even get the roof. Dragon pulling full aggression on this fight against Osin and Scare. They already get the first knock. Creon with the other angle. They get a full-on wipe.
They played that perfectly as well. Leaving that weakened wall there while Dragon distracted from the high ground and then takes it at the prime time there. The timing just couldn't have been better. Looks Karis trapped, caught with this pickaxe out. Just not much you can do here. Meanwhile, Falcons, Peterbot and Boyo back at it, this time onto Chris and Drew. We've seen this fight happen before. The last time Chris and Drew were left almost in shambles, chased across a big section of the map, and it seemed pretty similar when the zone was kind of keeping Squibbly in play. They essentially went for the battle.
Peterbot and Boyo early on are willing to take some of these risks. But you can say Peterbot takes a big shot, forced to back up. They didn't necessarily win the trades here when it comes to Surge. They're going to have to go back on over to Squibbly, where in essence they do have almost infinite heals that do spawn up over towards that rift. But Riptides, we saw threats in Beer win the fight in that last game. Beer almost going down. You can see it kind of led into them being affected by Storm Surge, but Mako and Blanks, a team that qualified out of Frigid Fortress with a victory royale, just changing up their drop spot here again today. And that's sometimes what you have to do. From day 1 to day 2, you hit the VODs, you figure out what changes you can make.
Threats and Veer successful in the last game. This time, Threats is left to play this one out by himself, at least here at the start. And once again, though, Jacob, I'm looking at that overall player count, 78 remaining. So it seems like the early day jitters are out the window here now. Here's back to Curve and Veno playing similar to the last time. It made sense why there was that big wooden base. This is just the early game strategy. Committing here to play for a Surge Tower.
Where he's going to give up all the loot to Curve right now. You know, Curve is kind of, I wouldn't say the mastermind by any means, but he's the main guy, the main source of their early game damage. Trying to get Surge. You see them breaking open the tops of buildings. That way nobody can safely lurk nearby. And I think that's one thing for certain, because we saw Veno try to make that attempt in that last game, lurk back towards a Surge base that was momentarily stolen. And I almost wonder if that's why. You see a lot of these Surge bases, Monster, Metal, Brick. Veno and Curve, for the most part, they build it in wood.
Yeah, they know it's temporary. They don't want to attract too much attention. And maybe when it's wood, it kind of signals to other people, no one's going to be based up in wood, right? Surely not. It's all part of the strategy. Mind games at play here. H-Cube and Cryptid do end up finding threats there. So from Solo now back to the lobby there. Got a little update here with Cold and Rapid.
For threats going down though, and Veer, that's a huge loss. You know, coming into this game alone, they're in 11th place. They're 20 points ahead of the line, 13th place for that Summit land spot. So they're gonna have to really hope the rest of the competition doesn't fare as well in this game, kind of giving them a couple of chances to close out the day. There'll be 4 more games left for them. 5 overall, including this one for Cold and Rapid, just kind of business as usual. Set up center map over at Dark Dominion. Cold was able to get the mythic Chaos Reloader, and you can see all the sorts of goodies that they have. Multiple pizzas, med kits. So they can honestly stay here just like they normally do, rotate late, and just kind of pad that Surge stat.
Yeah, at least 4 or so games yesterday. I think whenever we tuned in, essentially, they had a mythic shotgun or AR or otherwise. So they have had a fair amount of success and a little bit of luck finding their kind of loadout situation. Molten Acorn in a fight against Electro and Oak right now. It's a bit of a messy one. You see other teams putting their influence into the mix here. Throwing their ammo into the bucket, if you will. Electro manages to sneak out the side, though. Turn things around. Puts himself in between those firing shots.
Was prepared for this, Acorn, but for Electro and Oak, they don't want to overstay their welcome here. Shockwave outside of range for Acorn and Bold, but they end up in the range of Cole and Madden. They've also been performing well so far on day number 1. It looks like Electro and Oak are looking to get aggressive here, maybe for some early Surge or eliminations, depending on what they're looking for overall, if they want to try to fly up that leaderboard. But there are 4 teams directly in this location. Acorn and Bolts all the way towards the north, and a couple of teams stacked up in between. Electro and Oak got all of that information through the past couple of shockwaves, and I do think they're making the right decision. Focus on getting into zone instead of staying on a stacked edge, especially for their loadouts. Yeah, they don't have nothing.
A couple of fished up floppers already. They're gonna have to get their material count back. But you saw there, Cold, they thought they were spotted out. That's why they based up almost defensively out the gate, which gave Electro the signal. Like, yo, wait a second.
Looking healthy.
These dudes are hiding from us. Like, maybe we should take this fight. Things ease out, though. Peterbot Pollo back at it right now, finding CDZ and Raven here.
Crazy.
It's like the worst nightmare for CDZ and Raven. You know, we gave them a lot of grace yesterday as we watched them continue to improve game to game, but
yeah, no,
whatever they're doing right now, they're ending up in the war path with Peterbot and Pollo. I don't like it. I'm sure they don't either.
Hey, they almost got the down onto Pollo. That's maybe a non-factor. He does clean up that elimination. It almost makes me wonder, CDZ and Raven rotated in towards Swibbly in that last game. They did not fight Peterbot and Pollo. So they're probably thinking like Peterbot and Pollo, they're not going to be here. They're going to rotate on out. This time a whole different plan for Pete and Pollo. They stay around Squibbly Shores. They spot out the team rotating in, and they just fight for those eliminations. 8 more points for them as they continue to rise up that leaderboard. They closed the gap already with game number 1, and they're already closing the gap again. Depending on how many eliminations that Curve and Veno have been able to get so far, this game started with a 13-point lead between 5th and 6th place. Well, they've already cut it down to 5.
Quicks and Higgs want to do that as well. I mean, clearly the #1 problem with their entire situation right now is that they need way more eliminations. They came into this with roughly 15 or so. If you look at all the teams inside of the top 10, they are definitely towards the bottom of the elim activity. Their placement points are exceptional though. And I mean, they even do have those 2 wins. Like, let's not forget that, right? Like, that's super impressive all in all.
For a moment yesterday, had me believing Clicks Higgs, first time FNCS champions, he's going to be able to channel that. They're not going to get high elimination games. They really need to start picking up consistent
Agers
placements inside of the top 5.
and
Agers
Ritual
uncontested
healing up with the
at
venue
San Trip.
machine.
For the most part, this is one of those
I
POIs.
think, is
we
this
don't see
in
very,
zone?
very
Yeah,
many teams
this is
rotate
zone.
in and around. I think they know how aggressive
This is
Ritual
not
and
in
Agers,
zone.
how long they actually stay at this POI to protect that mending machine. Get some early surge and avoid rotating around so they don't take any free damage to some of these other teams. Rotate.
I wish
the
they
next
like
couple zones, but
showed
for
their
Hobby and Diminish,
surge in early
they've already
game.
made it priority to rotate in towards the zone. Not too far away. If you look at the mini-map, those little blue arrows, yep, that's visuals, that's Braids, kind of taking a page out of their playbook, elevate themselves on a mountain in the center of zone, and hope the teams make mistakes rotating by.
Yeah, their strategy hasn't changed. I mean, even last game was not too bad.
Yeah.
If they could have just pushed it a little bit further, they'd be sitting still inside a 3rd, but 16th is still an end game, you know, overall. However, the big points start to really add up if you break into the top 10, closer to that top 5.
Yeah,
Sphinx
true.
Here. Don't see Sphinx. Yep, looks like he must have been caught in some of the action here. Look, Jacob, we were talking about how fast, you know, the first like 2 zones have played out, and then from then till now, it's almost as if no one's been eliminated. We're still at that 76 player mark.
It's just crazy.
It's almost the feeling of some of these contested drops or the surrounding lands, a little bit of freedom, because everybody has that time limit where they have to drop, they have to get their loot, they have to mat up, they have to grab their resources, so maybe that's the little window
This is
of
their
opportunities some of these teams are going ahead and taking.
Braids are
for their own.
stealing Peterbot and Pollo's kind of plan for the first game.
Play out here. Aggression is going to be the name of the game if you're looking to make up with some of those points. We see Veno and Curve already doing it. We're seeing Peterbot come online with doing it. In instances, we talked about some of the solo clutch impact points monster. Agers wasn't necessarily on that list, but if we would have kept the list going for these last couple of games, added on top of that, Agers did move, I believe, into the top 5 of solo clutch players.
Most definitely. This is a great kind of position to start catching up. Talk about Visual and Braids' journey, right? Look at this. The zone's pulling south, and this is actually favorable for them because they have some distance from the edge, and they can see all of these potential opportunities of teams that have to move long before them. So they have their clear pathway to success to overdrive out, and then they have teams all in the distance here to kind of pick apart in the process.
Clicks is healing
Meanwhile,
up in
Clicks
zone. I think it's
is actually in a world of trouble.
I think it's
Why
a
in the world would he end
tick.
up by the Dark Dominion? We'll just have to
Is it
figure that
tick?
one out here
Yeah,
in a
it's
second.
tick.
But he's lost Clicks in the process.
Yeah,
For Higgs.
Decisions, yeah. Big part of their game plan here, and you can see it almost looks like they might have been rotating
I
underneath.
feel
Not
like
sure why Rapid
needs
and
to
Cold would
somehow
be down there. But you can
res
see
it,
why
right?
they were getting aggressive.
Storm
They're
Surge warded
252
252 above Storm.
above the damage threshold. Clicks is actually pushing right back in. He's trying to go
What?
on
What?
the offensive. I'm not sure
Clicks
if this
is
is the
pushing
plan right now
Cold
or
and
just to simply
Rapid.
try to push them back for the free reboot card. Either way, a brave play coming out from Clicks. Probably knowing that Cold was weak, a lot of HP missing, and he's actually going to be able to steal away a pizza out of the
That's
hands of
actually
Cold
huge.
and Rapid. It's just a matter of Cold and Rapid rotating out. Clicks
True.
probably checking to make sure, and now everybody is out of Dark Dominion. So even though in this moment, Monster, it looks like disaster strikes,
Peter and
they're
Pollo.
gonna have a breath of fresh air and time to breathe. if he can get that reboot off.
The only thing I can think of, and we will have to go to the replays to find out, he had to have been fighting for Higgs' reboot card, right? There's no way he's just gonna go challenge a team like that, right? Like, not for no reason, at least, not as a solo. So in the end, though, it plays off. He ends up doing exactly what he needs to do, and he comes out ahead. You know, the extra pizza box is definitely going to be a huge win for them, especially given that they're in the zone here. So, Peter Boya, though, in a bit of a standoff right now. And they have the zone. Okay, this is
Peter
actually perfect.
Boya
800 damage above.
2 kills on the board.
Material count not exactly maxed out, however, though,
on Pete.
they have everything else going for them.
That whole team next to him, Flex and Light on the other side, trying to put down pressure, possibly force Peterbot and Pollo back, but we're gonna have some time here in a moment as they drop down a whole nother layer. A 5-tick zone, and we tune into Rate right now. No Cooper
Enough
in
assault
sight after burn
alive.
to his material.
Spraying
Multiple
Pete's
teams looks
tried
like they
to get
spotted him
the
out as a
surge
solo.
tags.
Send some fire his way, trying to put
I mean,
down
that's
pressure.
one
The
of the
zone
best
Maxwell's
ways
yet again away
to
from
get your
Reed.
tags.
Got to see if he
Pushing
can actually
solo,
try to go for the
try to
revive
get
here with
tags
very
on
little
him.
materials, or play it out as a solo. I think he has no other choice but to play this one out as a solo. It's not enough time to get the revive. Both of them will end up going down. So Reed, a lot of pressure on your shoulders here to finish this game.
Pressure on Bolt and Acorn as well here. Below the surge, we were highlighting the fact that teams like Acorn and Bolts didn't have problems with the Storm Surge at all, at least doing damage
That's
to them.
crazy.
And then we
Didn't
come in
have
now
any
and
problems
already that's
with
not the
Storm
same
Surge
story here
ever.
at all. Acorn, so much pressure here. Doesn't even have
200
time to run heal.
above.
But Bolts comes in to
Acorn
back him up here. This is on
at,
paper.
like, oh, there
This is
goes
really going
our
to come down to
50
whether or not
HP
Bulls can buy
Light.
his teammate a little bit of time. He's done it so far. He finds Paper there. And Paper goes rolling away off to the side. Resi now in a one-on-one against Acorn. Acorn, you got to fend for yourself, son. This is going to be tough. Resi's trying to hold it down.
1 HP
Acorn,
dies
no.
to zone.
The big Acorn
Knocks
is here.
Bolts.
And he does what he needs to do to stay in the
Bolts.
game. But no.
Ooh,
Bolts
not
have to
Acorn.
leave him. Oh, my gosh.
Bolts go down.
My,
Ritual and
I
Aegis.
can't believe that series
Alive.
of
Enough
events.
died to
Acorn
Zen,
and Bolts
Bucky.
forced to fight. They shockwave away. Bolts tries to make a heroic play,
Venom curve.
but just gets cut a little too short. This game right here in terms of a leaderboard monster, they are going to feel for sure. Outside of Elim, those are the only points they got. See possibly going down around 29th, 30th place. No points for that
Easier
effort.
to,
Peter
like,
Boya, though,
reboot in
surviving a little bit of an
squad-
onslaught, not only able to get
squad
elimination, but a
FNCS,
little bit of
with that
cleanup,
squad
some
FNCS.
extra loot for them to work
It's like
with.
real FNCS,
It's something
but
I think
easier to
Cold
reboot
and
'cause
Rapid
you
need.
could
You
have,
saw them
like,
getting chased by
all
clicks
either
underneath, trying to get revenge
one
for
person
Higgs. You can
reboot
see
into
what
who
that has
all
done to
protect,
their position
or
in
all
this
three
game.
of them
Really,
reboot at the
3
same
above
time.
the damage threshold. Cold with a huge chunk of shield missing. It's
Which
put him so
is,
far
would
back.
make it go really fast.
Cold and Rapid have a chance to break so far ahead of the competition. It's going to be a huge problem for the rest of the lobby right now. If they have a big end game right here. No one's played perfect, though.
I feel
Peace.
for him here, just taking damage from Storm, taking damage from Storm Surge.
Cooper
no
went
extra
down
HP. He's 93
a while ago, I
below.
think.
It's deactivated.
P-Rock
for a
gets
moment.
2.
And oh my, that's
my
the
gosh.
only moment he needs.
Watch that.
Literally, if it was still actually active, Monster, he would have been ticked down for sure. But Reed making a play. 4
My
more
videos are
points in
too
this game.
big to
2
be
teams need to go
self-edited.
down, and he's
What are
going
you
to start getting a
talking
reward
about?
with placement points.
Hey, man,
I
he's back
edit-
like he never left right
I
here. He's
edit,
got 2 big
post,
pots
and
as
post
well.
all of my
The bounce
videos,
back in the
and
game, pressure.
edit all of my
break the visuals from the
streams.
side here. These are his walls, too. He can
I think I'm
get in and
lying.
make some pretty dirty plays here. But talk about a way to claw your way out of the grave for a second. Visuals and Braids, though.
Dang,
Look at what
nah,
happened here.
bro.
Just shortly
The
before
way
they
he
made that
switched
rotate, they actually
screens
find an elimination there, an
from
important
game
one as well.
capture
At 3
to
HP, the Siphon is what's going to keep them in the game,
turned off,
remaining competitive. I saw that while we were hopping around,
Yeah.
Clicks actually eliminated 2.
That's
so
not
we have some
crazy,
pretty
it's just
big top 10
not
teams
that
now,
hard to do.
fully out the
It's-
game. This is going to shake up everything as we know it.
It's kinda
68 below, though.
concept.
Visuals, Braids get a little moment to
Ooh,
breathe, but
Visuals
it's not going to
goes
last very
down.
long.
You can see Braids having some extra shield, allowing him to take the tick, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to find the damage, especially in a zone like this. Curve and Veno. We saw Shockwave from the backside of zone to contest the high ground. Nobody's really making themselves known as the team above the rest. They're not necessarily ready for it. 8 zone. Sometimes we say it's a little bit too early, and I think everybody has that same sense in the back of their mind. Saving the material, saving the Shockwaves, make a play for it maybe in the next couple of zones, but for now, Agers and Ritual, looking at what's in front of them. That's Slepsy, that's Wagers. They're putting down damage, trying to spray through the box. A couple of those are going to connect, but not enough to give them the green light to go.
Yeah, there's one thing about the way Clix and Higgs played. They play these single towers and not really overcommit with the tarps. And I would love to see teams do that because high ground is completely free right now. Even Rituals and Agers are looking up like, wait a second, bro. No one's up here, and you saw him kind of break off for it. Braids on the other side, though, just popping off right here. Playing the edge of zone, gets a little siphon going, and now
they're pushing Ritual. Peterbot and Poyo pushing Ritual and Agers.
And now they come in to try to take the investment away from them, and it actually works off.
Yeah, massive damage onto Agers, onto Ritual, forcing them away, but you still got to be careful for Curve and Veno, full HP, front side of zone. Agers gets left by himself. Talk about him moving possibly into the top 5 in terms of solo impact points in this game, and this is another chance for him to do just that.
Heals
There's
and
a bunch of points in terms of placement still left on the board. 4 points for elimination if he can clean those up, but he has to watch out. Like, Peterbot and Poyo, not only they have the high ground, they know he's that second height, put down a little bit of pressure, forcing him down a whole nother layer, and then set their focus on 20 and Neko as well. They're building up
a shotgun,
taking a lot of the focus from Peterbot.
Heals,
Golden Rapid may not have won a game this weekend, but they've been playing low ground very well. But look at this. As I'm about to celebrate their key positioning, they get rolled up on from behind. Meanwhile, Curve, Veno doing the same thing they did before, play deep side of Storm, come bouncing way on in with the Flowberry Mist to just support them here for the high ground take. But Veno's got to be careful. He's right outside the box of Peterbot Poyo. It seems like they've conceded to give away the high ground, and it is theirs now. Veno,
you understand how fast these teams move. This is replays, so there's all the
replays. It's all up to
replays.
Peterbot to clutch it up too.
Back-to-back is 100% certainly possible, especially with the tough competition out of the
6
lobby.
HP white on Peterbot, only 15 builds.
If they can repeat that same game, they can close the gap. But now with first, second, and third place out of your way, this is the opportunity to do it. But Peterbot by himself, 6 HP and a dream. Finds a little crevice there to hold on to down below. Not able to get the elimination, though. He gets taken out. Top 6 situation. 3 solos running around.
We'll be down there a second.
Still intact. Veno and Curve are still up above, raining down fire, not really giving anybody a chance to breathe and think outside of the box, which is Force and Seek to take this Storm damage. It's his only play here to try to get some extra placement points.
Love what we're seeing right now. Veno coming down here. No material, just forced to play chest to chest here while Curve's got eyes from the top down. Here comes the mist. Just give them a little bit of a relief here, but Tyler comes up, goes for the pop shot, doesn't quite hit it. And Tyler's got enough mats to actually do work here. Jacob, this is not a safe endgame by any means. It really is going to come down to whether or not Tyler wants to contest them on height or jump down low for some elimination points.
Yeah, it's not just the build that I'm looking at. It's that mythic Chaos Reloader that can turn the tides of fights in the blink of an eye. But he's getting pushed by the solo down below. Seek, he gets the elimination. Siphon getting up to 200 effective shield and HP. More builds to work with. But up above, Curve and Veno, they're refusing to drop down low. They're refusing to give him a chance.
Oh my
so
God.
Tyler has no choice but to go.
Big
shot.
Curve goes down.
Tyler is trying to make dreams come true. He lands another shot on the Veno down below, trying to deny the back-to-back.
Oh my
Tyler,
God.
he just needs the one chance, but he is already down. He's by himself. 1v1.
Yes!
3 HP. Tyler,
Oh my God.
stop.
You know what? That might
That's
have been
crazy.
his biggest play of his career.
Alright, guys, I'm probably not
and he
gonna be talking much
definitely
because I'm
deserves it.
gonna
There's
eat
one
dinner.
thing you cannot deny. A professional player with build is dangerous no matter who you are. Well played to Tyler and Chance there. What an exceptional game number 8 there we just saw, Jacob.
Yeah, I was saying Tyler, he needs a chance, but his duo's name's Chance. He's down, but he got that second opportunity, and he ran away with it, Zeke. Are you not excited?
That was... Dude, I'm sitting there like...
Wow.
Tyler's walking around taking these shots. I'm like, oh, myself. You know, I'm thinking like, oh, get out of the way. No. I just... You know, it's one of those situations, right, when you're like, dude, this is Curve and Veno, right? Like, we're about to see the back-to-back day 2 of Grands, and then the moment we pop over to Tyler, and you just look at his build, you're like, this guy's 90 builds. Like, GG, just kidding, it's all fine. Like, Kelly, and then just to hit those shots. To hit those shots in again, like in a 1v2, in a Grands lobby. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I know no one wants to be stuck in the low ground when there is so much chaos going on, but having 90 builds in the final moment right there when there was literally only 3 other players alive just goes to show that maybe getting those refreshes can be so beneficial because you just stay so stocked up. But man, Tyler there, he played that low ground so well, and that's not to the detriment of Veno and Curve. They played height really well too. You could hear our casters talking about it. They don't want to drop down. They don't want to give them that chance. So that gives you that kind of understanding that Veno and Curve were aware of the position that Tyler was in. And look at this, even in these moments, he didn't have any build,
Right
but
there.
getting that
Look at
refresh
that.
right there, Vivid, is what made the difference.
We tuned in. He was in 11th zone and he had 1 build. A skip ahead, 1 elimination. When's the last time we saw anybody in any competition with triple-digit builds in the final zone of the game? And I mean, listen, I wanted Veno and Curve to go ahead and win this game because the Surgeons up the leaderboard. Yeah, that would have helped them just that much more. But as soon as I saw 100+ materials, 100+ builds on Tyler, I was like, this one, he's going to be an absolute hassle to take down. And he absolutely proved it. Shout out to Veno, though, because even with the odds stacked against him, took him down to 3 HP. It was close.
It was, man. I cannot believe how much day 2 is delivering. 280 points, and now we are looking to cement ourselves in that top 13. Shout outs to Tyler and Chance. Okay, we're gonna go to a break. When we return, again, we've got to take a look at these standings. How are things developing? More after this break. Stay tuned.
Watch me arrive. Watch me arrive. Watch me arrive.
2 teammates have his back. There's Nash. Gets the drop on Marius. Stays alive. They're targeting out Fanya. Dreaming on.
I got here. I'm popping a medkit. Wait, short. Got 6 builds. No, max up.
Wait, if you're mid, wait.
100. 100. Oh my god! Look, 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 look.
And I don't know how to feel about it.
You're not used to losing. Getting beaten?
Not like this. These players are just so locked in.
Could it be the milk? Stay there.
I can't hold it back.
Carbon Venom. Carbon Venom. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, wait till you guys see the standings. First off, in case you missed it, welcome back to the FNCS. It is a great day to be watching Fortnite. We just watched an incredible game, but Carbon Venom almost got another Victory Royale. Second place, 9 elims. I told you we'd have to look at these standings, right? Because I'm telling you, game to game, it feels like I have no sense of stability, Kelly. It feels like every time I have a semblance of like, this must be the way this is going, right? Wrong!
Is that
Because
new
the
for
standings
you?
decide, you know what? What?
Oh, I'm sorry. I feel like instability is part of your lifestyle, Zeke. I don't think that's anything new whatsoever. But for the FNCS broadcast, seeing our leaderboard shake up this much, Vivid, might be a little bit new. I definitely thought the leaderboard was going to be ready. Right, there we go. Okay, Vivid, take it away.
Curve and Venno started the day in 10th place. I talked about it. They were 113 points behind first place. After just 2 games, they're now 27 points behind first place. And that elim column, it just keeps getting crazier. Zeke, you talked about it. It was at 40. Now it's at 49.
I am just shocked. You know, like something that Kelly said at the start of like yesterday, right? When we kind of like were hinting at this extra point, right? Again, it's like 1 point really doesn't sound like a lot, but when you put it in the hands of like a Carbon Venom who want to get aggressive, they want to get in these boxes, they want to take these fights. I mean, look at how it's paying off. We have just after 2 games, we started the day, Kelly, in 10th. We are now 2nd.
And it's not even like they're just kind of running on the low ground getting these eliminations. No, they're also making sure that they're stealing height, checking high ground, making sure that they're taking away other opportunities from other teams. So it's not, again, what are they doing right, but what are they taking away from everyone else? And Curve and Vino are doing a great job with those sneaky height steals that we love to see Acorn do, and to see them use that strategy to be able to even just punish height. Obviously, coming into this final moment, the 1v2 against Chance or against Tyler, probably not the position that Veno wanted to be in right now, but regardless of that, they are pushing themselves up the leaderboard right now. And you know, I'm looking at EU. The most eliminations we saw out of a team coming from Europe was Sky and Scroll with 57 eliminations. Oof. And looking to see 49 for Curve and Veno. And considering the game or the day that they had yesterday to the day that they're having today, I wonder if they're going to end up with more elims than them.
I gotta say, Zeke, what a weird lobby that was too, with like the high ground. Like at one point there was like nobody up there, and all of a sudden, you know, Peterbot and Player kind of going for it. And then when Curve and Veno went for it, there was nobody up there as well. Like Peterbot and Player had to fall down and did that huge overdrive grenade again, right where they're all the way up in the sky. And I was looking up and I was like, oh my gosh, look, is that a bird? It's a plane. No, it's the plane that brought Veno over from EU to NA all the way up there, man. That's how high they're getting for some of these height retakes. I mean, it's incredible. Game 7, game 8, it went the exact same way. They took height at the exact same time. And like I mentioned, man, game 7, they look like a different duo. Game 8, they repeated it. 4 more games. These guys look like they're gonna win this thing.
Oh man, guys, we can't forget, right? Cold and Rapid, look at them up there right now. Of course, not a ton of points ahead, but what strikes me as crazy is Cold and Rapid, this last game, they hit a 10th place with 4 elims. They have only had 1 game outside of the top 10. Only 1 game, and that was that 26-1 that we called a quote-unquote mistake, right? The blunder that kind of cost them all of these additional points. But even in these situations where they're finding themselves in shambles situations, we're still pulling off 10th places, top 10 with 4 elims. That's scary stuff, Kelly.
Yeah, and that is exactly what Cold and Rapid are doing so well, is that even though they're not, like, even if they don't get their pop-off game, they're still making sure that they at least make it to the very final moment to get those placement points. And then when they do have everything right, that's when they pull off the pop-off game. So I'd love to see another game like that coming out of them.
Cold and Rapid, they keep trying to build some sort of a lead, but teams, they just keep keeping themselves close. They're like, what the heck? Where did Curve and Veno come from? I thought we were fine. Red Acorn and Bolts are doing a little bit worse today. Oh man, these guys got to be sweating, but they're cool, calm, collected. 4 games left to go. Hopefully they can hold on.
Oh man, game number 9. Only 4 left before we conclude the grand finals. Casters, we're going to send it your way to prepare us for game number 9.
I'm glad you guys had a little moment to breathe and relax there. One thing's for certain, Jacob, 2 games can change so much of the dynamic right now. Curve and Veno proving that every team that is due for a pop-off will have it, but to go back-to-back like that, so impressive.
Now, it's definitely going to be tough, but one thing that I've learned from Fortnite, I've heard from Fortnite over the years, high ground, they might win games, but low ground tends to win championships, and I'm not sure. We've seen Cold and Rapid on high ground once throughout this week, and I'm not sure how much that will change, but the next game is ready, so let's jump right into the action.
The Major 1 Finals Game 9 begins here and now. If you're just tuning in, you've missed quite the weekend. The ups, the downs, the emotional roller coaster we have been going through is all coming to an end here soon. Just 4 games ahead of us now, Jacob, as we're getting into the deep end, the deep water of this Fortnite competition. And Curve and Veno just proven to us that, hey, yesterday, they clearly had everything on lock. Things just didn't quite line up for them in the end game. But today, it is starting to click. And for Tyler and Chance, right? This is a team that's had a lot to deal with as well. But Tyler popping off right now, really getting his money's worth. And don't forget, they haven't been perfect either, but they found themselves inside the top 10 off of that monstrous performance.
Big moments here, kind of closing out the day. 4 games left. Might seem like a lot, but it definitely isn't. Threats and Veer probably are feeling it. In that last game, Monster, they were inside of that top 13 bubble. They went down relatively early and fell all the way down to 15th place because of these off-spawn contested fights. So with Blanks and Mako, you can see they're trying to make a last-ditch effort towards the top of the leaderboard. But for Threats and Veer, they're right there. So we talk about mind games. What does that do to a team like Threats and Veer? Do you play aggressive? Do you try to go ahead and disengage, split the drop? I think there's a lot of decisions to be made for Threats and Veer, and there's not a lot of time to make those decisions.
Yeah, last game they only survived for 5 minutes. 5 minutes means they fell in 41st place. They were on track to remain in qualification range, of course, for that land spot, the prestigious land spots that are available. And now they slipped down to 15. So that 20-point gap that you talked about, I mean, that was given and then some. Now it's an uphill battle for them to find their way back into the race. Boyo, Peterbot on the other side. You know, we're trying to figure out what's going on with this team here. They've had, overall, if you just look at the overall performances, pretty good. However, the best of the best, right? Those that are up at the very top are just outpacing them by a significant margin as far as overall consistency. So will Peterbot and Pollo get their moment to finally win a game is the question.
Yeah, especially, you know, you kind of look at some of these teams at the top of the leaderboard and their overall match history, and you kind of look at it from anybody else, you're like, man, that's a good match history. But for the teams like Peterbot and Pollo, for the teams like this Clix and Higgs, when you start off the first 3 games for Clix and Higgs with victory royales, it kind of sets the tone and the pace for the rest of the tournament, but then things don't necessarily go your way. With one of the best POIs, they got 4 games left. I think anything is possible, especially since the last couple games to start the day. They have their head on straight. They're still staying to their plan, going for high ground when they can. It's just unfortunate. I think more and more teams are ready to make the risk with everything on the line today.
For me, I still can't be the only one who's wondering why in the world did they end up at the Dark Dominion against Cold and Rapid, who are clearly playing as a cut above the rest of the competition right now. So we'll keep eyes on this. This is obviously one of the stronger draw spot teams tend to rotate into for Metal. Let's give this little highlight here, some action. Noisy and Neo just holding down the Sanctuary once again, finding a nice little lurk play there. Meanwhile, Tyler and Chance survived the Boulevard. Looks like Curve and Veno have not decided to push down south towards this team, and instead they end up disengaging and out towards the southern edge of the map.
This is something we saw Tyler and Chance do in that last game. They landed the south side of Battlewood. Sometimes it can be a little contested, so they immediately go towards the south and try to cut off the loot path of any of these teams that are on this portion of the map. Going to be plenty of opportunity depending on what your timing is, but it seems like Tyler and Chance barely missed their window. Players going to go ahead and rotate around for free. Aviv and King, though, another team. Aviv, we're talking about solo clutch and big impact points. Aviv was one of those players on the top of the leaderboard, and then you take into a fact like the eval finals right before FNCS started. They were the only team to win 2 different games, so they have the blueprint. Just unfortunately, we really haven't seen the success that we'd hope for from a team like this. Kind of seeing if they can really bounce back in today's tournament. I think there's plenty of time and opportunity. They're at 174 points, though. About 80 points down away from that top 13 window.
Yeah, it looks like every other game they're making somewhat of a semblance towards the end game, but not quite being able to push the boulder past the peak of the mountain there. Get that momentum going, but Veno and Curve actually find Magma, G-Monster right here, try to set up. And I don't thought he was spotted out, but Magma's got no idea that he's actually approaching this close here. I want to know if he's going to go for the high ground player or the low ground ones. G-Monster's exposed as well.
I think they might just go for a straight chop, but Magma's dropping down low, so he's probably going to wait for the window to open. He go ahead and disengage out. G-Money gets spotted out on the other side. Don't take your pick at this point, because Veno and Curve are ready to go all in. Boxes up one, slides into the box onto Magma. Now they're going to go ahead and take down G-Money. A quick 2 eliminations. Veno and Curve, they're not slowing down.
And I've worked with Veno enough times to know exactly what his thought process there, right? Put the pressure down on the other opponent. The other one's going to get risky. He plays the switch, reverse card, lands on him, boxes him up before he even recognizes he's actually the one that's the target. Veno is just playing different right now. And again, this is no different than what we saw yesterday. They have been overly successful in the early game. And now that they're finding the end game kind of formula, right? The solution to their problems. That's why they've been able to close this gap so fast.
Not sure how many teams can really take them on head-to-head with the way they're playing so far, so you maybe have to catch them on a rotation, maybe get them lobby focused. But Bolts and Acorn talked about their strategy. Vivid broke it down, that long launch pad towards the back. They combine both the Fizz and the Shockwave for easy rotations just like this. We jump on board Creon Dragon, the third party to fight to start the game yesterday. It was Reet and Cooper as well. We talk about threats and beer falling outside of the bubble. Reet and Cooper are surely close to that same situation. Not sure how Cooper went down in that last game, but we saw Reet by himself in some of those later zones, struggling to get out alive. So this is going to be a little bit of a makeup game, a little bit of redemption to kind of build that confidence back up.
We got tagged back in exchange there a few times, so just giving away some of that damage that they're, of course, hard earning. But Cooper was lost, like you mentioned, really early last round, right? So there is some more work to be desired here. Blake and Preston, though, already at 2 elims. So look at this. It's just trying to sneak up, find another player here, lurking in the box. Cleaning things up here. Visuals Braids finds himself under some serious pressure here. Now, I was going to mention, normally by now, they're already situated in a monster surge base. Haven't quite gotten to do that just yet. You can see he is cap metal, though. Meanwhile, back on over Rituals and Aegers here. What's happening now?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they heard the noise from Blake and Preston. Maybe a reboot, not sure, but they see Preston by himself. I'm looking at the mini-map. I don't see Blake anywhere in sight. Gotta imagine he's either gone or outside of the lobby. So Preston on the clock, inside of the zone. It's only gonna be a 1 tick here, but they are tracing him down. He gets the patch up, which is huge. Back-to-back 50 HP being regenerated. No time to pop the shield, though. So he's buying himself a good amount of time. And the longer they stay in the zone, if Aegis and Ritual don't heal up, they could be 1 shot away, but they sneak the shot through in yet again, and the numbers advantage work in their favor. Aegis and Ritual solidified their 2nd elimination here. My only question, Monster, is how much damage they took overall chasing that one down.
Yeah, definitely wasn't the cleanest fight. SU Dozer against Acorn and Bolts right now on the edge of Storm here. Dozer SU looking to rotate out right now. Little do they know, though. Seems like there might be a duo here watching this little angle. It's actually Ravens and CDZ who have a bit of a choke point here down in the low ground.
Correct.
Acorn and Bolts hold strong. They want to maintain position here in the bush.
If you're
CDZ
wondering
no
if I'm
idea
watching,
they're
so
there.
yeah, I'm watching.
There it is.
I'm
They get a
just
couple tags.
eating while I'm watching.
Good rotation here for Acorn and Bolt.
So I wasn't
much ahead
talking
of the
'cause
curve.
I'd be
But one thing
weird.
I noticed, kind of looking at that leaderboard, you got Cold and Raven in first.
Acorn
Veno and Curve
and
in
Bolts.
2nd place.
and
Which is
Penn
again,
is
both
still
great
live.
teams, right? But remember
Going
the
on to
reason
game 9.
why Benno came from EU to play on NA in the
6:30
first
PM
place. It was to
ET.
play with Cold. They had a bunch of lackluster performances, which caused them to
3
split
games
different ways.
left.
At one point, you saw the Peterbot and Pollo split up. Benno was going to play with Peter, but then he went with Curve. Cold was like, I'm going with Rapid. They already qualified
Yeah,
for
it's
the Reload
true.
Elite
It's
Series
crazy.
finals, so they already had that chemistry. I think the community saw that one coming from a mile away. So it's interesting to see two teammates who broke
Let's
up
see, these
now
3
fighting
games
for first
like,
and second place on the
went by
leaderboard.
pretty fast.
That's right.
I
And Minish
feel like.
has that LAN experience as well, right? So bringing something totally new to this team here, and if they continue to, you know, do what they're doing and stay on track to make it to LAN, that's gonna pay off for sure.
Yeah, I think so. They're definitely right about that.
Think about this positioning here from Bucky and Zen underneath the bases of Noise and Neo.
I like it to not take too much damage or too much focus. Kind of makes it a little bit easier to rotate without shockwaving a high distance away to take damage.
Yeah.
But they're not going to get as much opportunity to get surged. The team above is going to get first strike at that, and by the time they can even
Yeah,
open up
that's
their
fair.
walls
Fair.
and try to get their own shots
That's
to
one
connect.
of the things. It's really. Oh. What happened? What happened? Did their live just go down?
Reason for
Oh,
Cold and
there you
Rapid
go.
to stray away from their strategy. You know, you don't fix what isn't broken. If their worst placing is going to be a 26 and kind of an outlier game, and after that it's a 10th place, honestly, you'd be crazy to switch things up for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just starting to think, you know, should we be upset
Talkie.
if Benno flies in from EU?
Peterbot
wins
and
an FNCS
Pollo
from NA? You know, now
are
we gotta start like
both
asking these
speaking
types of
at
questions
Absolute
here.
Giant
I don't know how
Surge
to
base.
feel about it.
Also, it is
Getting
like they're
pretty
speaking
contentious
of.
up at the
It
top.
is pretty hard to get Surge. Like
It's
that's.
definitely gonna
I mean,
help
not
his case. You
hard,
know how
but
he
like
feels
it's
about the comparison
not
for
easy. I'll
EU
say
to
that.
NA,
Like,
and
and
he's just right
surge
there.
damage
Honestly, less
is
than 20
one of the
points
most
away at
important
this
things,
current time.
obviously,
Closing the
because
gap as the
other
game
than
does go on.
placement, because
See Reet and Cooper
you get
on the
eliminated,
distance,
like
trying to make up for that last game.
obvious, but like it's hard to get to surge
Kinda
damage.
wait
You have to
biding
play
their time.
smart.
This is where a lot of teams, you know, if
And
you look at the strategy from Clicks
You
and
gotta
Higgs, and you were
basically
asked the
plan your
question, how did
strategy
Higgs go
as you
down?
go, and
You
if
can
you
almost
make
imagine
the
a situation
wrong
like this coming in,
if
using
you make
the
the
wonky
wrong
wheel, and a lot of
choice,
these
that
teams,
leads
just like
you
you know,
died to
Reet and
surge.
Cooper, Cold and Rapid,
Or
are
if
positioned
you
high
set
up
up
in their
for a
surge
bad
tower bases,
rotation,
so you're not going to
when
be
you
out
get
of render
deemed and
distance
die.
as you would think.
Those are some
they
of
got
the
eyes
things
on the
that a
boxes,
lot of
right?
these pro players
kinda
have
called this
dealt with
before.
before, and
Teams that are positioned up in these bases
honestly,
do tend to wait things
they're
out,
pretty
try
good
to look for
at
opportunity for
not
those that are
doing
gonna
that.
rotate.
What I was just speaking of, but
Pass.
like
Again, this
it's
is game
still
number
like
9,
sometimes when you're forced
12,
to make
two-day
bad
format
rotations
here,
and
always
stuff,
keeping us on our toes.
it's hard.
As things are starting to heat up, the 50-50 zone's
Say
gonna
that.
pop, and it's coming up this way.
I don't know why he's
You know, this
building.
is kind of risky, right? You know, Jacob, we talked about teams that kind of
Crack.
play deep into the
That's
storm
gonna
right
be a
here, and then
good
the
amount
zone
of
pulls
surge
away, and you
damage.
just stay here, right?
74
you kind of
people
take
left
all of this
still.
storm. Now, what you're doing is you're opening yourself up to potential sickness, but also, obviously, it's going to cost you a lot of heals.
Yeah, a lot of their resources. That's kind of the give and take of a game like this. You know, we talk about a similar scenario when somebody's getting struck down by Storm Surge. Do you out heal it? Do you try to get eliminations? So hopefully with their positioning here, they do pull zone. Reed and Cooper, they're going to go through their splashes, maybe some pizzas to try to maintain their position. Not only on high ground, but on the north side of the map, where it's going to
Muds and
open up. It's going to
Sphinx
be a little bit slower to
doing
travel
good.
through. Muds and Sphinx,
Almost
Storm Surge
max
does
health,
activate
max
175 above the damage threshold. You're seeing they're only peeking for small opportunities. They're level with the ground, so they're not going to get as much information from all the teams rotating in.
Confused for a second. It looked like someone literally fell out the sky. I'm like, do we have an in-game event happening right now? What was that? Like, Sphinx and Muzz just kind of hanging out right now. I like the spot that they're in, you know, 150 above. Not too bad. Not exactly safe. However, it can go either way. See Curve, Venno now. They've already found themselves pretty content, right? They find their elimination. They get the big
Yeah.
cleanup here, and they haven't quite left. They just took the Surge base and have turned it into their own strategy. Now the zones continue to pull this way. They're going to have to shockwave out here shortly. Here it goes.
Oh,
One at the
Curve
team,
gets
but, ooh,
beamed.
someone's waiting for them to make that.
Reet.
move. A little bit of damage onto Curve, but Venno goes untouched.
I mean, Venom, not Reet.
Yeah, those are the risks versus the reward that I kind of look at in situations where you're shockwaving off of height.
Oh,
You have a good bird's eye view when you're able to kind
Yeah.
of be up here, Monster, but once you shockwave down, you kind of leave yourself open to
triple
taking the
threat
shots, just like you saw
Somerset.
there. But
triple
they were
threat
very, very
reddish.
proactive in the early game. They're able to pad that cushion when it comes to Storm Surge, so they can take minimal damage just like that. I see Clicks and Higgs still rotating in from Wonky Land. A little bit of slower
Ooh.
rotation than others. They're taking a lot of the focus, and this is what happens when you fall
Clicks and
behind with the
Higgs.
rest of the pack.
Both alive, getting a little bit more healthier,
Wondering
eating their
if we were getting a
pizza.
little update on Clicks and Higgs here. Their performance definitely coming up short from what we expected. It's hard to live up to that hot start. Look at this though, Sleep 10 wagers here, tries to go up and over.
Ooh,
They get caught in the process, also
That's-
find
that's
themselves below the
honestly-
surge, so there's just all
that's
types of
crazy.
problems here to deal with. Meanwhile, Metal takes full advantage of that. They get the refresh that they need. They might even build into the zone here with a monstrous metal base if they wanted to. I was gonna say, they obviously have enough mass to do so.
almost max.
Let's take a look at
Ooh.
it. It's Venom.
That was a
Next there,
crazy
Jacob.
beat.
Just big damage. Not sure what Slepsy was thinking, but I saw him 500 below the damage threshold. He's probably trying to drop on anybody
500
with a
below
surprise
is
attack.
crazy.
Tries to get the one pump, but I did see, the
like,
teammate
you
just
have
kind of
to
go down
kill
right
at
behind
least
Paper, who was
3
looking
people.
not even in that direction. Probably after the elimination got cleaned up,
Actually,
the
no.
loop kind
Yeah,
of
kill 2
made
people
itself
and
known.
get
Paper looks
some
around like, "Ooh,
tags.
what is this?" Kind of gets rewarded there. Cold and Rapid. See them continuously staying on these mid layers. They don't want to have a target on their back going for high ground, especially since they're already in first place. They don't have to change up anything here. 313 damage above the threshold, just waiting for the next zone to pull, and more than half of the lobby just got a max pull over towards Humble Hills.
That's crazy.
We have it. Things are about to start heating up
Clicks and
real quick
Higgs,
here now.
both
Approaching
alive.
the final
With
moments of game number
108
9.
builds left on
Endgame
Clicks.
is on. Sturm
80
Surge is
builds on
here.
Higgs.
And Clicks and Higgs are 150 below
150
right now.
below.
Still plenty of room of
They
damage to
both
be
push
had
this
here, so they
team.
have to play aggressive into the box. They go.
100.
Higgs gets a monster shot, Clicks into the box.
Wow.
And Clicks does what he needs to, but no, it's Agers and Rituals are here to clean it up. And they take out some of that close competition there in Clicks
still
and
a lot of
Higgs.
people left,
And the
like
runway is starting to open
40,
up
I
now.
think.
Meanwhile, Curve and Veno, clear as day. Blue skies for the team over here.
51.
They have high ground and max material once again. This just doesn't get better for them.
Yeah, I'm not sure if these were all of their bases or not, but essentially shockwaving from base to base to base in the last couple of zones to make sure they maintain their presence up above. You see them all that
Everybody's
extra
moving
loot
around
building
crazy.
outward, not necessarily to hold the tarp, but just to get their edge inside of the zone. Peterbot and Poyo filmed the same struggle. For a moment, one below the damage threshold. They quickly prop themselves back up, 89 above. Poyo looking towards the backside of zone, trying to get some easy damage. Peterbot on the hunt for some of his own. Almost bites off more than he could chew in that moment. But either way, Poyo's able to clean up at least one elimination and continue to build up on that Storm Surge. Only 3 players need to go down before it deactivates, but as they get eliminations, so do Cold and Rapid. There goes another one for Cold, adding to his total.
It's crazy, man. The amount of eliminations they managed to find in the end game is so impressive. And they're in the lead, mind you, right? So this is really
Almost
going to give them that
600
room to run
above
away
on
with it.
Agers and Ritual.
You start looking at players like Rapid, you start looking at players like Curve. Having an FNCS championship under your belt is one thing, but having it on NA just hits a little different too. So for some, they're looking to unify the belts. For others, they're trying to put the stamp on their name. And for folks like Curve, talk about really showcasing you're one of the greats now of the new era. But first, you got to do it. Rapid and Cold continuing to play the strat. Going for low ground front side here. Now, this time they do have low material count, so they will need a big refresh.
Which honestly doesn't worry me just one bit. Curve finds one though. They're on 8 eliminations already, continuing the pressure on the lobby. Absolute destruction here
No,
on
Muzz
NA.
goes
They really
down.
have to take note. If Veno finds himself in first place when the tournament is over, he will
Sphinx
be
is
a
solo.
new 2-region champion. EU and NA Central, arguably 2 of the hardest regions to win a championship on, but they still got a quarter of the tournament left to play. Tyler, forced by himself, loses chance. Backside of the zone, he's getting pressured by Jack, NPen, and a few other teams. Everybody forced to rotate in, finds a Fizz, trying to take advantage of that, but he runs into Peterbot and Poyo on the other side of the wall. Luckily for him, it looks like Peterbot and Poyo have their hands full, so they don't even look back, but as we tune back into Cold, he's by himself. No extra heals, no build. This is what the entire lobby needs to have a chance.
And they're only in top 20 right now, like barely holding on here. For Cold to fall, the runway really starts to become available now for everyone else. But look at this, Veno lost in the process. Curve forced to play high ground by himself. Meanwhile, Acorn and Bolts find a 2-set elimination now low. And then we jump right into Poyo, who also has a refresh of their own. And everyone is clawing back into this competition now.
Yeah, with first place gone, we got Curve by himself, we got Aegis Ritual, Acorn and Bolts, even Peterbot and Poyo, that all could be our first place team after this game, and they're ready to make it
eliminates
so.
Curve
Big
from
Elon
Peterbot.
up towards the top, Peterbot and Poyo, they
Take
send
height.
it up towards height, give themselves a huge advantage, and another 4 points for those eliminations, even more.
15
when
left,
the
8
placement comes
teams.
in, but down below, the counterpart, Aegis and Ritual still running wild. 5 eliminations of their own. They have pizza, they have splashes, they have materials on top. So they don't even necessarily need an elite
Who's my
elimination.
favorite?
You line it
Between
up, they will
Rituals
knock
and
it down.
Aegis.
Bolts and Acorn
Probably
here,
Rituals.
4 eliminations now on the low ground. Peterbot and Poyo, we already know, have solidified their high ground position. Bolts just continuing to do what he does best. That's a monstrous refresh, and he picks up everything here. Gets the Chug Jug as well. He's just living off the Siphon, but no, Acorn gets caught there by Javi in a minute.
Oh, he's
Tyler
in
still
zone. He's
holding on
dead.
here as well. Somehow
Ooh.
finds his way into top 5. When we last checked in, it was 20th place, and Tyler is just clutching up, showing us how badly
Top
he
5,
wants it.
3 teams
Bolts here
left.
on the low ground though. Javi in a minute here, full
Ooh.
duo versus
Oh
of
my
course,
God.
Peterbot, Poyo pressure from
Come
the
on.
top.
Come on,
It's not
Bolts.
looking too good here.
I think,
Bolts is getting pressure from all
no,
angles.
I think
Both
Peterbot
of
and
the
Poyo
duos
might have their
sandwich and
first
eat 'em
win.
alive, but there comes the drop down coming in. Peterbot realizing it's going
8
over recycled
kills.
builds. They can maintain their presence, but a blessing for them is the same blessing from down below. Javi and Aminis are able to utilize that same scenario, and rightfully so. Look at their material count monster. They were almost out of mats altogether.
Yeah, Peterbot knows what to do here. He's just got to keep that relentless pressure coming down. Hopefully he can pull for
One
the win.
build.
But Javi comes up, finds a little cheeky angle from the side there, but he's got no mats. Peterbot also punished too. Aminis got nothing, but Poyo's coming down to finish the job. Peterbot's already got the full conclusion there, and now,
Oh,
Jacob,
yeah, they
it's just looking
win.
like a 2v1.
Yeah,
If
basically,
that's gonna
Javi's
be-
living on borrowed time there. He might know it as well. No extra material. Zone pulling on over. Yes, he can farm up a little bit, but double Thunder Burst up above the mythic
It's
AR. They're
impossible
gonna
for
melt
him
through
to
those
win.
builds, and that's why you see layer by layer, Peterbot and Poyo dropping down. They just don't want to take any big risk here because they know this one is definitely in the bag. 9 eliminations so far, and if they're able to clean this one up, get that elimination onto Javi, this could be a double-digit elimination victory royale. They catch fire at the right time. Peterbot and Poyo on top.
You know, they were due for a win. That's what we kept saying. We're looking at their performances. We're seeing them make these end games. But the biggest question that was remaining was, when are
Need
they
some more
going to get
wins,
that victory
Chris.
out? And you know what? They couldn't have done it in a better time and at a better game, right? When you have Cold and Rapid there, Jacob falling early too. That right there is going to conclude game number 9 now. Peterbot and Poyo Zeke have finally done it.
It's happening! It's happening! Peterbot Poyo! Okay, everything. It's, no,
We're actually
Kelly,
going
it's
into
happening.
game
We knew
10.
it was gonna happen. We didn't know when. We didn't know why or how, but it's happening right now. 3 games left to go. Game number 9. They finally decide, you know what, Zeke? You know what? We've been quiet. We've been under the radar. We've been consistent, but on the DL. You know what, Zeke? We're gonna make a statement. We're gonna perfectly overdrive all the way up into height. We're gonna shut that down, take that over, and you know what, Zeke? We're gonna go ahead and get ourselves a victory royale. Kelly, they're doing it. It's happening. It's happening.
You know, they say that there's 2 inevitabilities in life, death and
They muted.
in the final games. It is just inevitable. Peterbot and Poyo, we've seen them do it time and time again.
Oh.
The narrative has popped up time and time again. They're washed. It's over. Peterbot's done. And then they wrap up day one, always still in the top 10, by the way. But
They
day
did
two
not
is where
show
they
this. This is
come
the first time to show me
show
this. That was
how
crazy.
they do it time and time again. Peterbot
They did see
doing this crazy height steal to go onto Curve, who was a solo. Poor guy had no chance when you have Peterbot and Pollo flying up to the sky.
I mean, you know, there's kind of the conversation amongst us saying, yeah, you know, they've been pretty quiet this grand, and they really haven't. I mean, their best placement was a 5th place. We're used to seeing these guys just win games, take high ground convincingly, and just has not happened. But that being said, they kept themselves in contention, right? Even though they weren't having these pop-up games, even though they weren't having those performances that we're used to seeing out of them, they were still in like 6th place going into that game, right? Just close enough to 1st place where it's like, okay, technically it's possible for them to kind of catch back up. You know, they're just always flying around, always buzzing around. And then it happens. They win the game. It's like we literally brought it to fruition by speaking it into existence. These guys,
You guys are
are
freaking
back.
out. This
They
is
win the
literally
game,
the
and
best team
I
in the
saw how many
world.
points they have. I can't wait to see the leaderboard after we come back.
Just because
Oh,
they're not
Vivid,
winning doesn't
you
mean that
stole what
they're
I
not.
was going to say. 485 points. We knew going into that Golden Rapid had 446. But where did they end? Had they overtaken that #1 spot? Let's find out after this short break. Don't you go anywhere. We'll see you right after this.
Watch me arrive. Watch me arrive. Watch me arrive.
Two teammates have his back. There's Smash. Gets the drop on Amarius. Stays alive. They're targeting out Vanya. 3v1.
What? Okay.
I got hit with that one off. I'm popping a med bit. Wait, short. Got 6 builds? No, max up. Wait, if you're mid play. 100! 100! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
And I don't know how to feel about it.
You're not used to losing. Getting beaten?
Not like this. These players are just so locked in.
Could it be the milk? Stay there.
Five, four, three, two, one.
Welcome back, Party Fam. After game number 9, Peterbot Pollo decide, you know what, Zeke? It's time to get active. We're going to get ourselves a little victory out with 10 points. They end that game with 485 points. Kelly Of course it happens like this. I know I let you write the script for this major. And man, oh man, of course,
This is
with 3
definitely gonna
games
wrap up
left to go,
before.
we get a VR out of Peterbot and Pollo. Now of all times, Kelly, now!
This is when they always do it. They always like to build a little bit of a story because we always go into every major thinking that Peterbot and Pollo are gonna run away with it. That's just boring writing,
I feel
dude.
like,
So instead, they make everyone sweat a little bit. They have a little bit of a struggle through day one,
I feel
and
like
then it's day
it's only
two and
gonna
the
be
second half
40
of
more
day two
minutes,
where they really
probably.
start to show everyone why
maybe
they
not
are the
40.
demons of North
Maybe like
American
an
Central.
hour,
Peterbot and Pollo
so-
now with just a
maybe
6-point
3
lead over Curve and Venno. But more importantly,
so it's probably gonna
Vivid,
end at
I'm
like
looking
8.
Cold and Rapid dropping down, but again, that drop is not that far.
All of these teams are close enough. I mean, 30 points separates first and fifth place. But I mean, Peterbot and Pollo, it may have taken 9 games for them to finally go ahead and take that throne up there in the #1 spot on the leaderboard. But from an individualistic standpoint, Peterbot is still playing
12,000.
like we're used to him saying. Like, I'm looking at the damage dealt over the course of these 9 games. He's currently at 8,300. In second place right now is actually Azers with 7,300. So Peterbot's 1,000 damage dealt ahead, and that's exactly what we are kind of used to seeing. Sure, he's getting beat out right now by the likes of, Azers, Curve, Venno in the elims category, but he's still up there with those guys, top 4 in individual elims. These guys are doing good. All of a sudden, finally they get that win, and now they're at the top.
I just can't believe it. The story is what it's gonna be, and of course, right now is when Peterbot and Pollo decide to pull out a win and take over the #1 spot.
Yeah.
But let's start to look at this top 3, right?
That's crazy.
Curve and Venno. We see them in this last game get a 12th with 8 elims, right? And it's funny because
No,
Levin
it's
joins
10th
our
place
call and he's like,
clicks
"Oh
and
man,
A's. I
that's
don't think
crazy.
they're
That Venno
gonna
guy. Where's
well,
that Venno guy
that's
from?
yes.
He's
Unless-
from NA, right? We're
unless
just
they
like,
absolutely
okay,
go
buddy,
crazy the
okay,
next
Levy
2
Poo.
games.
Man, these guys are going crazy. 57 eliminations, Kelly. You called out a number not that long ago
I think
on the
Venno
over on
and
EU what their
Curve are
record
probably gonna
was.
win.
We're right there. We're right there with 3 late games left to go.
That is right, and we can imagine that if a little misstep happened over here with Venno, if that misstep did not happen, that they would probably even have more eliminations, if not win that game. But unfortunately, Venno did go down to this right here. However, Curve was able to hold the high ground for just a little bit, but once some of the other teams noticed that Curve was a solo on high ground, obviously it was going to be stolen. But regardless, still having
my
that
God,
many
Peter, that's stolen.
eliminations is going to
Crazy.
keep them up in our leaderboard. Vivid, we're gonna ignore that, okay?
Levy Poo is wild, by the way, Zeke. But I mean, yeah, the standings are just going absolutely crazy. It would be a lot different right there if Venno did not get bumped off of the high ground. He's going to be kicking himself for that one. But close on their heels, man. I talked about this 1st through 5th place, only separated right now by 30 points. Cold and Rapid, for the first time, we kind of see them slip out of that top 2 spot. It's been a while since we have not seen them towards the top. Rough little go for them in that game right there, but still, here's the crazy thing. All 5 of these teams going into the last 3 games, any one of them could win it.
Yeah, I mean, even look at Agers and Ritual, right? 467, right behind Cold Rapid, a single point. Even Acorn and Bolts, 455. And Acorn and Bolts get a 3rd place, 5 elims in that game, right? Like, this is absolutely going to come down to the wire. Right now, there is no clear in a way like, hey, this team is ahead by 100 points and they're just flying. It's like every team right now on NA in this top 10 is shining, right? For different reasons and at different times. So I'm almost wondering, like, now that all of these trios or duos, in the top 5 are firing on all cylinders, where do we go from here, Kelly? Where do we go with 3 games left?
I mean, for Acorn and Bolts, I think that today, for the start of day 2, it was a little bit rough. We saw them only place out of 11th yesterday, and then today starting it off, getting a 12th and then a 32nd place. And we actually saw them for the first time getting storm damage, which they didn't take out all for day 1. So obviously having these tiny changes that we've already seen them make and now seeing them back in the leaderboard, Vivid, that's what I want to see out of Acorn and Bolts.
Yeah, we'd love to see them kind of make some sort of resurgence, but no time to talk. I'm excited. I want to get back into the games.
Oh man, Jacob PR, NDF, we got a competition on our hands, boys. Take it away, bring the hype.
We definitely do. And I mean, we have the best jobs in the world. We get to sit here and watch this go down in real time. Y'all see it in about 3-minute delay, Jacob, but my gosh, it is so good right now.
No, it's definitely been exciting for sure. Our last 3 FNCS majors before this were decided by 4 or less eliminations. Yeah, the point is a little bit more spread than that, but the way this one is edging out to be, we got another photo finish on our hands. I'm strapped up, ready to go. I'm literally at the edge of my seat right now.
Yeah, that's right. You know, my attention is really starting to shift towards that top 6. We are looking at a 50-point difference between 6th and 1st place. Javi and Aminish, one of the most underrated teams now, are somehow finding themselves in the conversation for a championship run, and no one is playing perfect so far. But I hear the battle bus, so let's see it one more time.
Major 1.
3
That was
games
round
left,
10.
Monster. Just 3 games remaining in this tournament, and already for the last 3 games that we've seen that leaderboard shuffle up so much, from Golden Rapid being in first, Curve and Veno having a chance, to now Peterbot and Poyo being on top, and even that race at the bottom for the bubble, the top 13, 2 points separates going to Dusseldorf and having to go and try one more time.
Yeah, it's so crazy, man. Teams like Clicks and Higgs now are
What?
suddenly finding themselves in a whole different type of scenario, right? Where they have to fight for being in the top 13 at this point. Trying to get the championship win is starting to be pushed out of the question. Curve and Veno, though, switching up their strategy a bit, opting to go a little bit more aggressively to the north side, trying to see maybe if there was something here to be, of course, earned. But look at this, finds a little long though. You happy about that one?
Was Curve contested, or did he get those out of the sky? That's just my
Might
biggest
have been
question.
scooped. I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh,
either
dang.
way, it's just
Curve
a testament
and
of
Veno
like whether it's
are
the beginning,
landing a
middle,
little
or
bit
end of
far
these
from
games.
a
I don't
far
know
away
what they
from
ate
each
for
other.
breakfast, but I need to order me 2 of those because they are just firing on all cylinders. QK, Contrap, they had such a great moment to end the
Okay,
day yesterday. Most of us didn't even know where he came from. That first place 8 elimination,
Kanata
that first of them
did- I think
inside of the
Kanata's
bubble.
E is,
Today, however, hasn't necessarily been going their way, but they are still so close to contention. They just need to close out strong.
You know, what I'm thinking about
Or
is
OC.
Veno and Curve. Veno's probably telling Curve, like, bro, be on the lookout. Do not be surprised if Peter Von Poyo land this, you know? Because their drop is technically big enough. And if you know Veno, he's got that main character energy, right? So does Peterbot. Like, Peterbot, the way he treats Clicks in a finals or any other rivalry that's neck to neck, he will definitely land on someone like Veno as well, just because the storyline will be so exciting to watch. And they're all that close right now.
Yeah, 20. Neko
Yeah?
just trying to go ahead and get out of a bad spot. Both of them kind of separated. Like, Flex got a good opportunity here.
All right,
Took
hold
too
up.
long to go ahead and execute on that chance, so they're going to be forced to disengage as Neko reunites along with 20, trying to push them back further and further. And that's the thing about these split drops, to where if you don't go ahead and get those eliminations on the contested drop, it makes finding that loot that much harder. Mako Blanks going ahead and pressing on to Muss outside of the Riptides. They have a good 2v1 opportunity here, but they're continuously trading shots. Muss not going down without a fight. Another chance there as he lands another
Going
big
for it.
tag. 26
Mako.
HP, even the knock on the Blanks. He has a chance to 2v1. In comes Liquid as Duo finally arrived. They clean up that elimination, but the party does not stop here. Threats and Veer, who were once inside of the bubble, fell out, are ready to make up for those mistakes early on. They have the Fizz, they have the Shockwave. They're trying to close the gap and figure out exactly where he went. Heard the noise onto Mako, so they're just going to drop down and try to clean up this even.
Yeah, doing a great job chasing them down right now. Veer's got full sights here. Threat's got control of the coast as well. Should be another tag. Unfortunately, they don't quite find it, but this is still great damage, and they want these points right there. Again, found themselves in the top 10 and then fell within around that 15th place range after slipping out. So Veer and Threat still have some big games to be out here.
Just getting more and more crowded over here towards the Riptides, though. Got Nick and Skinny Cat moving on over. Threads and Veer kind of gave up positioning, chasing for that Elim. Then you have Muss and Liquid on the other side of Riptide. So even though they were able to get the couple of eliminations there, I don't think they advanced their position all too much. Higgs and Clicks, they get the legendary drop this time out of Wonky Land. Better chance at those rare chests, more gold. And already at their POI, they almost get maxed mats at that mini game. They have the wonky wheel, so they have everything they need in terms of finding success. And early on, obviously, it is only the first zone. It seems like it is moving on over the western side of the map.
Last time we saw them pull a zone like this, though, Jacob, they did win the game, right? If it came this way. Hicks and Higgs calling on some connects here to try to make something big happen at this point.
Cold and rapid. If you get that feeling of deja vu at all, I can agree. They're not changing up their strategy. They don't even go underneath Dark Dominion unless they have to. Cold just kind of
Rapid
builds up
and
towards the
Cold
top. Not only does
going
he have to aim
crazy
with those
on the high
shotguns, he's going to
ground.
be the primary source of finding their
Realize
surge.
that honestly could have gone
Rapid,
on
the
now.
big brain, the IGL of this team so far has been rotating them very, very well in
Says,
the
"Wanna
good
use my
portion of the
support
games. But the
creator
last
code,
two, I
it's
think those are
max
going to be the ones that
plays.
hurt the most. 10th
11
place,
shot,
4
all
eliminations,
caps.
17th place with 1 eliminations,
Ritual and
kind of giving up that
Agers
top spot on the leaderboard.
Going towards the piano room, looking for Surge.
Agers and
Trying
Rituals
to
on
get
the
some
other side here.
eliminations before Surge.
Bit of a
Surge
quiet rotate for them
It's
right
still a
now,
long
but
way. At,
close to this Dark
top
Dominion, so I
50.
am curious what the strategy here
Surge started,
is.
which is one thing
coming
that's
moments.
really hard for a bunch
They've
of people.
almost continued to
Honestly,
position themselves
Surge
around
is
some
one
of
of the
that
hardest things in a tournament other than placement.
competition up on the standings. Acorn and Bolts on the other side. Bolts is very situated right now.
Yeah, I think he looks down towards Wonky Land, but you can kind of see that big base over towards the Ferris wheel. It's fully blocked off for that direction, so no easy peeks for him there. Has to look elsewhere. Over towards Latte Landing, though, where Power and Penta make themselves known. At the Reek and Cooper drop spot, back on over towards that launch pad, typically where the primary source of rotation goes through. Cooper down below, tries to go for a cheeky shot on the Power, but he regrets that one momentarily. Pressure continues to fly his way, but Reek was able to find an opening onto Power, gets the shield on just like that. But they're just taking so much damage from the Storm itself. Yeah, they have to get in the same box, heal up with those flashes, because they were one shot away from going down.
One healing separates them from the top 13 lane spot right now. They cannot afford to fall here. Reed and Cooper do enough to push this team off, but at what cost? You saw them, again, healing a bunch, so we can't even tell if they're actually out positive after this exchange right here.
Oh, well, they don't want to get the elimination code for free. They get the good damage onto Power, they shockwave, they fizz, they close the distance, and now they get the knock. Instead of cleaning up instantly, they know they're going to take damage from the Storm. Let the Siphon do its thing. Reed's going to go on the chase. Sees Penta trying to run away, and he's just trying to follow suit. Only thing is, he only has one shockwave left, so yep, he's going to have to use the fizz to really make that shockwave worth it. Getting up on top of that mountain. That's going to give him a huge bird's eye view to try to figure out where Penta actually ran to. Spots the builds in the distance, safe landing into the water. But he is so far away from Cooper now. That gives Penta a 1v1 if he could just figure out it actually is a 1v1.
There's no way. He's off. He's already going right back to the bodies, thinking that they came together. But Cooper's here, waiting to catch him. More good damage here. Now, this is starting to track what seems to be other duos here in the area that are just going to stick into their usual rotates right now. So we have to be careful, but there it is. Finally, they clean things up here at the Latte Landing. It'd be a great two-piece elimination for them, giving them that little bit of cushion that they were looking for here. They're not quite safe again inside the top 13 just yet, but they are there now after the 8 points they earned there. Meanwhile, Visual and Braids, what is this? This is a completely different strat.
Even got me shaking my head, scratching it, trying to wonder what went wrong. Typically, we see a team like this spread out on these mountain ranges that you see there in the minimap, and that's how they get a lot of their surge. This time around, maybe trying to wait for somebody to lurk in late, find something. Hopefully, they make a mistake. Timing, if it doesn't work out, though, might put them behind the rest of the curve as QK and Khan find themselves elimination over here towards Painted Palms. Instead of going on a wild goose chase, though, they're going to let that solo player run away. Maybe they could turn back and get the elimination later. We know we're going to go for a reboot eventually. But for QK and Khan, man, this is going to be a good start to the game. Get that damage early. And once you got that Storm Surge damage early, it kind of opens up flexibility to be able to focus on the rotation instead of just getting damage.
Yeah, talk about those eliminations too. I'm gonna be keeping close eyes on Visuals and Breeds too, because like you said, that is such a massive risk for them to take here, waiting inside the base, hoping to ambush someone. And then you look at the map, look at how much distance there is between other players. It, again, from here looking at it, might not pay off. We'll just have to see. Peterbot Boya, though, back to the same trusty strategy, keeping this huge surge tower. This just seems to work out a lot better for them, and then pushing teams that they tend to weaken on the way. There's an Aegis, one of the 3 down here at the Dark Dominion. So we saw them rotate past this. They didn't go around to actually contest pull the rapid course. And shots coming in from Peterbot's duo up top.
Yeah, they spotted that one out quick. Saw the surge base, saw the window open. Unlike some of the other surge bases where there is no top on their base, you can kind of, you know, crouch, uncrouch, peek over, not really give yourself away. But Peterbot built it in a way to where it's impossible to get shockwaved on for free. So usually we always talk about Peterbot and Boyo hunting teams down. I'm getting in the back of my head. Maybe they're prepared if worse comes to worse. That happens to them. They are the team to beat after 8 games so far. I should say 9 games. We're here in game 10. Let's see if that lead goes away. Muzz and Sphinx over towards Humble Hills. Zone moving on over towards Squibbly Shores. We talked about last time Clicks and Higgs had a zone move over in this favor. I think everybody here on this side of the map has just been gifted a little bit of opportunity, which includes Muzz and Sphinx, who's currently positioned 8th on the leaderboard.
Done really good today, too. 2nd place in that first game, 12th and then a 10th, right? So a lot of in-game appearances so far for Muzz and Sphinx. Bucky and Zen. So on pace right now. Great opportunity here to find some casualties from that prom. Zone's going to be coming in shortly, so they're going to make quick work of this team here and get going themselves.
You know, watching this sometimes, you just got to have a lot of patience because there's a lot of moments to where you typically would think, I got to rotate to zone. I don't want to take the damage. I want to beat other teams there. But sometimes it's just more beneficial, especially if you have the white HP heals, to go ahead and just fight for your time. Let the Storm do its thing. Force other players at their hands, depending on what situation they're in. Especially if you have a little bit more control of your games. Curve and Veno, a different approach already. You know, in the last couple games, we see them very, very early on try to be the team on the high ground and really condition the rest of the lobby. This time around, just like we saw Visuals and Braids, taking a whole different approach. Slowing things down and just minimizing the risk of them actually getting eliminated.
They do already have 2 eliminations, too, so they're feeling pretty good about their overall damage, but as we start talking about the way this zone played out, it's going to be Clicks and Higgs who have this monstrous base set up here at the Wonky Land, as the zone has favored them for quite some time here. And look at this, plenty of extra heals to work with as well, so he's going to have to pick and choose here what they want to take on the road with them.
Plenty of time to wait. Zone is pulling towards the south. They have their wonky wheel. They have their combination of both the Fizz and the Shockwave to really dodge a lot of the teams at the earlier portions of that zone. You kind of move out of render distance, make it easier for them to move in. And you see the zone is kind of pulling off the shores of Squibbly over into more of the mainland. And this is where you do have a few different mountain ranges that will be in play. So rotations being quick, that is of the essence here. And that's where you see now, for all those other players that have waited until this zone to try to move their way in, you're seeing Cold and Rapid, they're pulling that edge of the zone. Instead of going straight in, they know this side of the map is more than likely uninhabited by a lot of the players, so they're just going ahead, taking a slow approach yet again. They don't seem to be in a worry, and they don't seem to be desperate to make any big plays.
Yep, and they got little bushes to play with as well here. So with the zone coming back their way, look at that. They have a nice little ambush set up there. All the teams rotating in. Peterbot still finds himself safe in the positioning here. So long as they found their damage, they'll be just fine. Aegis and Ritual haven't really moved either since rotating their last position here. They're only 83 above, so this is a much more precarious situation to be in.
Yeah, it might look good. It might look good now with the damage being above the threshold, but you know as well as I do, the way that some of these games have been going, you'll be above in one zone and then instantly fall below in the next. Just, we need to get down to a certain minimum of players for each and every one of these zones as the game does progress until it eventually does turn off down to 40 players overall. So they're really They're really playing tiptoeing with that line when it comes to Surge. Cold and Rapid, similar situation, only 143 above, and it's not easy for them to rotate from point A to point B. About 30 damage is going to get taken off of that Surge.
One thing to note, though, they were max material coming out of that storm there, so they are in a prime position here. Don't let that material count fool you. They are getting late into the end game here. A little bit of storm pool luck here, and you'll be in a great spot to be in. Overall, though, Peterbot and Boyo, the same can be said for them. They have this high ground base. They've had the zone this entire time. They're finding a tremendous amount of damage from this advantageous spot, and now they get to shockwave out and play into the Dark Dominion. So this is actually Cold and Rapid's draw spot. And again, normally when you get the drop, obviously we've seen those teams turn these opportunities, if you will, into huge wins, if not better. But again, that is to be determined, as now we're starting to push that end game. Veno and Curve, no pressure so far. They've just been sitting on the vending machine trying to see if anyone was willing to come this way. Clearly, some people got a little too close to the fire and got burned here. It's Magma and G Monster. This is another Veno and Curve elimination onto the same team. They just can't catch a break from them.
Yeah, and I know the game's still going on, but with those eliminations there, they take first place in the tournament. Placement points haven't set in. It's going to continue to jumble, but it goes to show how close the leaderboard actually is through and through. Am I watching a replay? Am I watching another clip? Peterbot and Boyo are just finding opportunity after opportunity, and it's on to Veer. That is going to be a heartbreak right there if Threats cannot clutch out some good points in this game. He is only 4 points away from that bubble.
Yeah, they were doing so well after finding those two elims, and now lose your teammate kind of here is going to be that much more tougher. Well, you have to make at least 20 or 30 points. As we were jumping away, I think I saw Veno find another elimination there too, so the rotates are clearly working well. Yep, here it is. We get to jump in with that. They're at 5 elims now, Jacob. Things are just starting to get really pieced together for them. Take a look here. They find the lobby focus onto Jack. They get the elim credit. It just can't work any better for them now. So all that matters here for them is just going to be key positioning, playing for the end game. No one's in that base up top either. Somewhat of a vacant Storm Surge base from before. The zone is bounced back. Acorn and Bolts are still in this game as well right now. Barely holding on though, as they found themselves only 20 above. I see Clicks and Higgs there in the distance too. Meanwhile, Peterbot continuing to find eliminations.
Yeah, to start the game, Veno and Curves, 2 off-spawn elims, put him in first. Peterbot gets an elim, they take first back. Veno and Curve get a couple more elims that pushes them in first, and now they take it right back. We're literally ping-ponging as this game goes on between first and second place, but you still got Cold Rapid, Agers and Ritual, Acorn and Bolts all still in the mix, and you can't forget about Clicks and Higgs. All it takes is one moment to catch fire in these next 3 games to really kind of shut everything up. They do have that gold Chaos, they got the purple AR, they got Slap Pizza, they got Fizz, they got Shockwave, they got all the resources necessary to have a good game here. But the zone might play a huge role depending on where it goes. I see it moving towards the south. We're going back in and through Dark Dominion. So even though we got those buildings we need to worry about, it's not as drastic as a North Pole and all those mountain ranges.
Jacob, I also saw Visual Embrace still alive as well, so it seems like their risky play did pay off. They're in the bottom right there, still fully healthy. Clicks and Higgs opting to go for high ground here. Once again, this time, as early as the 8th zone, while teams are playing pretty close to second height. So this is extremely risky. Hobby and Amina still in the game as well. But Clicks with the big elim onto enough there. He doesn't get too risky either, right? He allows the loot to fall there. Comes to back up his teammate Higgs here up top. It's Bucky and Zen who are trying to fight for it, though.
Yeah, and this is another reason why I think it's just a little bit too early sometimes in the game.
Pollo's down.
Not only because of material, but it's because of everybody sending it up above. You said it yourself, Pollo down. Now there's a lot of pressure here on the Peterbot to maintain their position on the leaderboard. Quickly peeks up, steals some of that loot away. Curve and Veno are on the other side, literally first in place, staring at each other through the wall. And I think Peterbot knows that danger's around the corner, tries to go up. Shockwave above, makes the play onto Zen. Nobody does that as a solo, and he's even backing down Bucky. They have the confidence to love the challenge Clicks and Higgs, but now it's falling short with Peterbot storming him down.
Just doesn't get better, you know. He's just sticking to the game plan. He's like, you know what? We want to come into these games and play for high ground. It's what's going to open up positioning for me. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. But Clicks and Higgs, of course, have the same strategy too. Herebot tries to bail off, of course, but it's not gonna be enough. Clix has just got his number this time.
This is an opening curve, and Veno needed. Volts is by himself down below. Acorn is gone as well. Another
Too
top
early.
team sent back to the lobby. Not only Curve and Veno's chance to increase that lead for first place, even with Cold and Rapid still alive, but for Clix and Higgs to play catch up here. They have the high ground. A lot of the teams are already out of their path, but another one sends it towards the north. Another team is trying to battle up above for the high ground. Meanwhile, Cold and Rapid has let all the dust settle. You guys can have it up above. We'll smoothly walk through that finish line.
Don't forget, Javi and Diminish were
Oh
in
my God,
6th place
Clixton
coming into this.
Higgs
They have a
might
chance
be
to
able
fight
to
for first
take-
as well, and they're trying to just show
Might
us
be
that
able
they
to
have
take
life
height.
in them as they go up. But Clixton
Clixton
is willing to
Higgs are on
battle it
height.
back on over into their
They
head.
might be
They're
able
really
to
just
win this
wrestling
game.
for high ground right
We'll
now,
have to see.
and it's cost them so much material. Clixton Higgs have almost given away the win condition at this point if they can't catch this refresh.
Yeah, you see Curve and Veno just waiting in the shadows
So smart.
for a moment
Oh
just
my
like
God,
this.
I
Everything
see
up
'em.
above is expended, but
Crazy.
they're actually looking down below. Look at the material count, the lack of resources. They might
Ooh,
have
Clixton
what they need
Higgs
to
go
take
to
the high
middle
ground.
height.
So Clixton Higgs have to give it up. Javi in a minute. You said it yourself. From top 6 to start this game, this is their chance to increase their positioning, but Veno's backs up against the wall. 6 builds, tries to find his way to the front side of zone while using the bare minimum. Curve and
Clix almost took it.
build
Veno
left.
out.
He's gonna have to reposition, and now Clix is by himself. 2 HP. A quick peek from Veno. He returns back to the scene of the crime.
Clixton
to take
Higgs
down
are
his former
out.
teammate.
Unfortunately, he did lose Curve in the process. He finds Prom here as a solo, but no, Nut comes to back him up, and then he has to back off here completely. Look at this. Veno didn't even get to pick up any mats either. So now he's down to 4 builds. But hey, look, inside the top 10 now, still earning points, but you have Cold and Rapid making up for time lost. But Veno's still going. Down goes Taki too. And now he's at 9 eliminations here, Jacob.
This is a legacy at its finest. Veno is really trying to put on, not only for himself, not only for Curve, but the entire EU region, saying, hey, look, it could be that easy. Cold and Rapid, though, still a big pain in their side, but Rapid goes down.
Ooh,
Buzz and Sphinx
Rapid
drop
goes down.
from above. This is literally chaos at its finest.
This is crazy. The points here being added up. Meanwhile, Veno's just soaking up placement points because the lobby's doing the hard work for him. And he goes into monstrous shot onto Ritual. Oh my gosh. Veno just continues to do it time and time again. And don't count him out just yet. That's another huge shot. The Fullberry miss drops too. Can he
Oh
get
my
some time to
God.
pop it? There it
Come on,
is.
Veno. And
Tries to break out
Veno.
to the top. Look at the
I think
game
Veno
sense, the
might take
awareness
this.
to break out of the dangerous layer. Veno is firing on all cylinders
Ooh.
right now, and he is still
7
going.
kills for
I
Veno.
can't
Oh my
believe
God.
what
They
we're
have over 10
witnessing.
kills.
Veno is taking over in this end game, but he has to be careful. The only solo left. He goes up for a Minish on the other side. A huge shot's gonna be fired. A Minish goes down. It's a 2v1 monster.
Can Veno do
How is he
this?
still doing it? How is he managing to earn
Veno,
these
Veno,
points?
Veno.
He's trying to get it
Veno.
back in blood. He might
Veno.
actually get this
No,
elimination
no,
here
no.
too.
No, wait.
Zista falls
No,
down.
he's
Voice
so
all weak.
close.
And he gave us the performance we were
That was the best
looking
solo
for there,
clutch.
Jacob.
That was
I
one of the
had-
best solo
Oh
clutches.
my gosh, Monster, I needed a moment to breathe there. My heart is pounding. I'm not even playing in this game, but Veno came to NA. He is taking over. He picks up Curve, and this team is a bulldozer in these NA lobbies. They're single-handedly taking down top team after top team by themselves.
That's
Besides
crazy.
the Void, they deserve all the praise in the world, Zeke.
It's just crazy to think that.
I
Think about White for a second.
Metal
Just sit here.
boss.
Pause the video.
Word.
Think about White. Or I mean,
I
not
wanted,
like
obviously
not
we want to
stream,
talk about
but like
Veno, but we need to,
the people
to
who are
highlight
watching the video right now.
Zythan and Void.
Pause the
Oh
video.
My
Think
gosh,
about
the chaos
White. Then
that
for a
was
second, think
that
about
game,
how
and
is everything
literally
made?
Veno
Like
is just
how's
mowing
this
down
White?
players left and right, and at the
In
very
a
end,
video
it is a
game,
2v1.
an add-on,
Zytha Void, they
which is
take advantage of
crazy.
that,
Tech
right? They
is
say, hey, look,
crazy.
if it's
Like
just
how is that
you,
made?
even gods can bleed sometimes.
If you realize
we'll
that
walk away with the
this
victory
is crazy,
royale,
and to the point where
219
people playing
points.
video games
These guys are looking
this
to
good,
secure themselves
which
a
is
spot
crazy. I
going
like
to
to
the
think at
summit
this-
with only 2
at
games
this
left to
second.
go. This puts them in a
That's
really
really
good
crazy.
spot, Kelly.
Yeah, I mean, considering how crazy the low ground was,
Oh,
to have
Veno
a full
goes
duo
down.
in that moment, being able to take on Veno. I mean, 6 eliminations.
I think,
definitely
like,
gonna
they
help
did a
him up
really
the
good job.
leaderboard. But
He
my
did a
goodness,
good
that looked
job
like that
solo
could have
clutching
been a
there,
1v2 in Veno's favor. But again, shout outs to that.
Veno
duo
had a
for
full
getting
chug, he would
the
have won
ninth,
that.
or the 10th VR of our.
That one was close. What a nail biter for the duo. Yeah, they were kind of just hanging out, right? We saw how many solos there were in that lobby, and
2
amongst all of
games
the chaos,
left.
amongst Veno just mowing down all the lobby. That
About
duo there
40
at the end, they
minutes
just get to kind of look up and like, wait, where'd
Yeah.
everybody else go? Right? We only got one player to take out for the win. All of a sudden, they go ahead, they clutch it up, they take the win as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that win right there shakes up the leaderboard.
Oh man, we're gonna go to a break. When we return, we are absolutely taking a look at Curve and Veno. That solo clutch was incredible. We'll see you guys in just a few minutes. Don't you go anywhere.
3 minutes. They put it from 2 minutes to 3 minutes, bro. I'll be right back with Game 11 of FNCS Major 1 Finals, Grand Finals, Day 2 on MA.
Watch me arrive. Watch me arrive. Watch me arrive. Watch me arrive.
Two teammates have his back. There's Nash. Gets the drop on the Marion. Stays alive. They're targeting out Vanya. Dreaming on.
I got healed. I'm popping a medbit. Wait, short. I got 6 builds. No, max up. Wait, if you're mid, wait. 100. 100. Oh my god! Look up! Oh my god!
And I don't know how to feel about it.
You're not used to losing. Getting beaten?
Not like this. These players are just so locked in.
Could it be the milk? Stay there.
Fortnite fan, we're just gonna get right into it. Veno and Carve, what the heck? Veno comes out. Game number 10 with one of the greatest solo clutches we have ever seen. Guys, look at this leaderboard. Peterbot and Pollo just got a VR last game, right? We thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Peterbot, Pollo, they're taking over. It's crazy. In a single game, Veno solo clutches here for a second place with 11 eliminations. Kelly Link, we are at 68 eliminations on the day.
I mean, and that is a solo clutch off of Curve and Veno having 8 eliminations before Curve went down. So it wasn't like it was just Veno in that game. But regardless, even with 8 eliminations, having Curve go down, Veno was not done yet. He is never done, Vivid. And to see him play that, for a second, I thought this was Game 11 Peterbot solo once again, because we've seen that in North America. But Veno wants to show that this is not just the NA show. EU is here to represent. And look at these eliminations, Vivid.
Insane. I mean, it's like he can't miss right now. If this guy has a shotgun out and there is somebody anywhere near him on his screen able to go ahead and hit, he's hitting the shot every single time. And how chaotic some of these end games are. I mean, he is just switching layers when he needs to. He's using overdrive grenades to fly up, and even mid-air, opponents are moving, he's still hitting the shots. And everybody that was watching this must have believed that it was possible for him to win this 1v2, right? Like this, it looked like he was unstoppable. Everybody's like heart froze for a second watching that right there. And I gotta tell you, the rest of the lobby right now is in absolute trouble. We kind of saw it after game number 7. We were like, wow, whoa, these guys look absolutely different. Take a look at the individual eliminations over the course of the 10 games that we've witnessed for grand finals today. Veno is leading the pack with 37. What is possibly a little bit even more impressive is that his duo is right behind him with 31. This isn't like a solo show. I mean, obviously, yeah, the solo clutches came out, but they are both just performing on an incredible level right now, Kelly.
I for sure thought that production was wrong, that this was incorrect, and that they misplaced Curve's name. That is insane. These numbers represent everything, and I feel like I'm gonna have to add a 4th star to
Veno
real
sticker.
soon, because this is what I want out of North American Central. And you know what? Maybe NA Central was getting a little bland, and you just gotta add a little bit of spice from EU, and that's what makes everything just taste so much better.
Whew. Tastes so much better.
I am just shocked by what we just witnessed. We have 2
I gotta take a shower after.
left to go. Let's bring up those
finish
standings again.
watching this.
Wow. As we look at these standings as well, I mean, guys, even look from 1st to 5th, right? Only 75 points separating
Clicks
Curve
and
and
Higgs
Veno
are
from
barely
Javi and
holding on.
Unfinished. I mean, I
right
am just
now.
in
Like,
awe. Again, this is why we
you
call
can-
out
they
right?
have
a
2
single game
wins.
of Fortnite can change
Only
everything,
21
man. You
wins,
just
though.
string together eliminations.
Curve
the way Veno
with-
just did, even in 2nd place, you don't even need the Victorial.
Curve and
You can find
Veno
yourself
with 68
climbing the
wins.
standings. Oh my gosh. Agers in Ritual as well. Look at this. Jumping up 2 whole placements right now,
Moses
Kelly.
Sphinx,
Off
zero
of a
wins.
6th place with 7 elims. Now,
zero
Kelly,
wins.
right now, more than ever,
Cold
these
and
eliminations are
Rapid,
so critical. There's so many points locked behind these eliminations. That's what these players need to be targeting.
I mean, Agers and Ritual, like you said, they got 8th place with, or I'm sorry, they got 6th place with 7 eliminations. Cold and Rapid that game only went down in 8th. They only got 3 eliminations.
Yeah.
And that is why Agers and Ritual are jumping up. Literally, you could be doing really well, making it to the end game, grabbing eliminations. But if you are not just pushing yourselves above just a little bit more than everyone else, that is literally going to be the difference of tens of thousands of dollars and being able to say that you are the best in North America Central.
Entertainment that we have been presented with this absolute domination. I blinked and I was like, wait a minute. We've played 10 games. There's only 2 games left. We are approaching that point now where it is possible that some of these other teams that are in the top 5 could potentially be thinking about, okay, listen, they're playing way too good right now. How do we stop them? I know we kind of talk about this a lot. We saw it on EU earlier, the attempt to potentially stop them early on. Does somebody have what it takes to land on Curve and Veno to stop what seems to be unstoppable?
Whoa!
Wait, maybe you know what would be crazy? Peterbot Pollo. Listen to no, like hear me out. Peterbot and Pollo, Clicks and Higgs. Both teams land on him.
2 games left to go here before we say goodbye. I cannot believe what has transpired so far. With 2 games left to go, all of these dudes are thinking the same exact thing. How do we either get in the top 13 or fight for that number 1 spot? Casters, it is time. Game 11 is ready. Take it away.
Monster, I don't know if Curve and Veno will be contested off drop, but I don't think it's going to be a smart play, because something you notice first off is when they were the best team in some of these lobbies, it usually starts in the early game. On day one, it was the mid and end game where they lacked a little bit of preparation, but now that that's solved, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to get Sky and scrolled here in game number 11. So let's see if things are getting hyped now.
Oh my God. Major 1 grand finals and an
Games
FNCS.
left, Monster. Two
Game 11.
exciting chances for anybody to rise up
This
the
is my
leaderboards. And before this
commentate-
moment, we had a very,
This is
very
my
close tournament,
commentator,
6 points
like,
difference. But after
what
Curve
do you
and
call it?
Veno, and Veno is just
Voice
phenomenal
for voicing
solo
it.
play.
FNCS
They have
Major
almost a
1,
50
Day
point gap.
2, grand.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm
when you listen
restarting
to
that.
Veno speak, he was actually saying
F-
Curve was due for the pop.
Day
Curve
2
is gonna have
of
his moment.
FNCS
Little
grand.
did we know, the wolf
Day
was in
2
sheep's clothing.
of
He has
FNC
been playing
Day
so
2 of
crazy. It's looking
FNCS
like
Major
the
1
young
grand
Veno, the Veno
finals.
that we knew to be one of the most dangerous
Game
fighters when he was
11
up and coming. We're
on
just seeing him just
NAE.
outperform like crazy right now. And you love to see it too, because it's well deserved. And the competition overall is extremely close. But okay, Jacob, let's get to some of
Oh!
this action here. Paper and Resi are still fighting.
That was-
for a
that was
qualification
actually-
spot for
that was a good
themselves.
one.
That was a great 2 piece.
LLM.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. That side of the map isn't necessarily my favorite. Whether you're contested, uncontested, or simply just win the fight doesn't make it any easier at all. Blake and Preston still on this side of the map, going against the Tick and Mafia on the south side of the Frigid Fortress. Good damage onto Preston though, giving a huge advantage.
By
on
the way,
over the other
guys, that
side.
is the real
Mafia
Preston.
has a huge chunk of HP missing as well. and
You
the
know
split lurks are starting to
Preston.
come
There's
in,
no
but
way
the
you
longer
don't
you
know
lurk, the
Preston.
longer you fight, those third parties will
That's
become
the
a
real
huge
Preston.
factor. And Pen and Jack already making their way on over.
Yeah, Ben and Jack have been all over these fights here.
Actually,
They've
really
had
good
success,
friend.
they've had some failures. So has Mafia. Look from Blake's perspective. Just kind of reading this one out, trying to see. Misses the most important shot though. Any little touch there, he could have sneezed on the Tick and it would have been a big up. And Preston didn't even see him run past him either, so they just seem to be a little out of it here for game number 11. And Ben and Jack not too content with the extra shots they're hitting inside of there. I think they learned a lesson last time. So they're off to disengage now.
Still got Scare and Osid at the actual Frigid Fortress just towards the north. They were the ones that, essentially the last ones standing after everything had settled, but just literally one room away. Preston and Blake, I have to imagine they know each other are here. Even the Tick as a solo, they only saw one elimination in the feed. It's about where is he at. And every single person in this scenario, Monster, is one shot away from going down or getting eliminated. And that's why you see the careful approach. But maybe Preston hears something on the other side of that wall. He's trying to tiptoe, take his time. There's a full window open, a clear shot. They double attack from both sides. That was actually a smart way to approach that from Preston and Blake.
I'm thinking Preston was looking through the cracks in the
Yeah.
brick like, yep,
That's
I
smart.
see an angle, bro. He's in here. Let's go for it. It ends up working out. Squibbly on lock, of course, by Peterbot and Pollo. Let's see if they end up doing a big surge base or rotating out early. Try to get a fight for some
Pronouncing it,
surge.
'cause everybody
Maybe
calls
even
him
some points, of course.
Pollo, but is it Polo?
All in all, though,
Is it, there's L.
oh, they're going back to that
There's two
strat
Ls.
where they just push Chris and Drew here, who are kind of based down right now.
Yeah, and honestly,
Polo,
unless
but it gets Polo.
you think something unordinary is going to happen with Veno going down early and a lack of eliminations, one of the big ways to come back, especially for a team like Peterbot and Pollo, is through eliminations here. You talked about it yourself. They've fought this one before against Chris and Drew. They've gotten eliminations, but they've also went down or down to low HP, making the surge not necessarily worth it. There goes another example. They're 100 damage gone just like that. Pollo having to slow things down, trying to heal up, but Peterbot's relentless pressure gets the double edits towards the top, forcing Drew to fall down yet another layer. But we've seen this happen a few times throughout the weekend. Eventually, Peterbot and Pollo do disengage, but I'm not sure that's going to necessarily be the case. They trade shots again. Another 100 damage landing onto Pete.
Yeah, one thing Chris and Drew have done is play defense very, very well, right? Like, every time we've watched this fight go down, they actually haven't fully eliminated this team. They have managed to defend themselves more than well enough, and Peterbot and Pollo say, you know what? You got it, bruh. Once again, and they just give it to them because they know too that going back and forth is not worth it. They wait until they're ahead and they say, all right, we're going to take the surge positive and dip out.
Sometimes you got to take the little victories. And hopefully they accumulate into a massive victory at the end of the game. So jump on board Threats and Beer. To start the day off, they were inside of that top 13. They slowly fizzled out, but as it stands now, 14th place, 264 points. 13th place is only 6 points away. So if they were able to clean up those eliminations, they would move inside of the bubble as the game does progress. On one side of the map, you can kind of see what is on the line for some of these players, and they're really just trying to put it all out there, and they leave no regrets left on the table. Kerillian seems to be by himself. Not sure where Jargon's at. Possibly eliminated by QK, but they break into the same box. QK almost goes down, but he's able to not only survive, but get the elimination onto Kerillian and basically tell him what he really feels.
QK's just crouching up
Yeah, I
and
was trying to
down.
find Kerillian on the standings. Definitely is one of those teams on that bubble
Buzzard's
area.
Sphinx are still
They
alive.
haven't had enough time to really focus in on their performances, but
It's
either
zero
way,
wins.
getting
What-
eliminated now in game number
what
11 is going to be
are
a
the
massive
four
setback
teams
for any team
no
here now.
wins yet in the top 10.
Jumping back to this right here, Peterbot. Boy, I don't think we've seen them actually fight Skittles' team at all. So Skittles
I don't know why they're not showing like all the way
caught
up
out of
from
position
1 to
here and
30.
into the drop. Okay, this is
was
exactly where
so
Peterbot wants to. They know they're not going to have teams
Top
here, not this
13
early.
to grade us.
Just like that, Skittles rotates out of one
Silence!
problem and into another one.
Ah, that's just unfortunate. Literally, Peterbot and Poyo went from fighting Chris and Drew. I don't know why they disengaged, but Chris and Drew went one way, Peterbot went the other, and basically attacked two different players on one team, sent them right back to the lobby. Another heartbreak moment here in Game 11, basically leaving it all to the 12th and final game for some of these teams that have been eliminated early on. And as you can see, 74 players up, Monster. This one looking to move at a little bit of an accelerated fashion than some of the other games we've seen so far.
Okay, I did find Kerillian and Jargle on the standings. They're actually in 13th, holding the line with 270 points there, Jacob. Now, the jump above them is Rhea and Cooper, who have a 30-point cushion, it seems like, for 12th. But it is super close from basically that line up and down.
Really watching all the teams below you, probably even some of the teams above, just hoping they go down early, kind of ease the pain. But you can see the big difference here from Rapid and Cold and some of the other teams. Rapid literally buying out the mending machine, and then they kind of bring all the heals up towards Cold, so he can kind of watch them, kind of leaving scraps essentially for anybody else that tries to rotate through and grab that mending machine. Just jump on board Void. Looks like he's getting chased down by a Beeb. Nowhere near his teammate just yet, but he's trying to use those shockwaves to close the distance.
Just look at Zipna's points, too.
Crazy.
Overall today, having quite the performance here. Obviously, after that last Victory Royale, in a 5th place before that, they've just propelled themselves right into a potential land qualification spot. Now, they still have a little bit of a ways to go, but if they can continue to play well, they will be up towards the top here in the next 2 rounds. Visuals and Braids slipping down the totem pole. They were holding that 3rd strong for so long. These last few rounds have just been a bit tough for them.
Yeah, they have a bit of a cushion, almost 100-point cushion going into the last 2 games, but almost leaves you scratching your head. They vastly changed up their strategy from day 1 going into day 2, where they would typically set up here for a long time, just getting little tags that adds up to a good amount of surge. By the time they rotated towards those moving zones, it made it a little more free to do what they want. But more and more teams rotating over, even to close the day out yesterday, lurking on them, getting those eliminations, forcing in the back of Visuals and Braids' minds different things to go out. They're going to go ahead and get that drop early on, just at the edge of zone. And this could be a blessing here with the zone moving towards the north. They're already set up on one of these mountains, and every team south of that line has to rotate either through Visuals and Braids or to the left or the right.
They don't have
This is definitely the better spot to be in. And, you know, this is arguably the best spot to have a monster surge base, but they seem to have gone to keeping more of a low profile. So they're trying to mix things up. And if I had to guess, teams just changed their rotation strategy, right, coming into day 2. And maybe that's why Visual and Braid is having a bit of a harder time, whereas yesterday, while everyone was caught off guard, strat worked a little better. But for Peterbot and Poyo, they're fighting for points here. It's the Squiggly Shores, obviously their domain. Doing a good job so far.
Peterborough just using a couple of resources that are around. Taking that spicy fish, getting a little bit of a movement boost that can help him try to break into some of these boxes as they pressure out Muzz from 2 different angles. One shot can connect from Pollo. Peterborough still holding it down, leading some of those Thunderburst shots through, getting him down to just HP.
like,
With
look,
the zone
they're
here, yeah, it might
stacked
only
on
be a
max
1
and
tick, but it's going to
ammo,
increase
and
the
they're still
worry
fighting.
for Must. Liquid tries to go up and make a play onto Peterborough, but he gets cut short as well. He has no choice but to try and disengage. He basically gave up any hope of him and his duo either taking down Peterborough or surviving, so he moves towards the north, saying, hey, if you're going to eliminate him, I probably already have the goal. Let's just start working on plan B.
Yeah, look at that. And little did they know that he actually fully dipped on his teammates. So he could have stuck around and finished it, but not worth the risk. Really showing you, too, that, like, Peterborough and Pollo are really trying to play for an end game right now.
really
They
hard
know that,
'cause you have to
hey,
have
the
a good
points will
idea
come.
because-
We just got to keep winning.
The urge to fight, like when you see somebody,
speaks, you
is
know,
hard. Like
Muzz, at
You
least,
really
you know,
wanna
in
fight.
the last major 3 in trios qualifying in the last game of the day to make it to globals. A much better position, 7th place, 430 points on the leaderboard. Just needs to be able to close it out strong in the last 2 games. Listen and Aloe in the mix as well, just trying to float above one of these teams. They're going to be in 23rd place, 214 points. I want to say roughly like 56 points away from getting inside of that bubble. That's definitely going to help him tenfold. Raven does go down. Aloe already trying to shockwave over. CDZ realizing the shockwaves are coming in. He's going to try to disengage himself. Can't be the hero in a situation that started so fast.
Unfortunate turn of events here for CDZ and Raven. They find themselves at the bottom of the standings here, but hey, all of this is experience gathered and effort learned. So Aegis there find G Monster in the feed. So Aegis continuing to do what he needs to earn himself some points to continue to fight his way back into first. It's neck and neck up at the top. No teams can make a mistake now. If you're Acorn and Bolts, you're going to need to have those big game wins as well. Otherwise, the dream is out.
Acorn and
We're
Bolts
just
were
surprised
right,
to
like,
start this
we're
day.
in
We're talking
first
about the
place.
phenomenal play from Bold, Solo
But they're not
Impact,
anymore.
him and Acorn's ability
I
to
think they're
remain
in, like, third or
consistent
fourth.
in each and every one of these games. It's just something went wrong today. You know, compared to yesterday, they had a 32nd place and 19th. They did make up for it in a moment with a 3rd place with 5 eliminations, but now they're 98 points away from first place. 2 games left. Almost have a little bit of control over their destiny. They really got to hope for Curve, Veno, Aegis, Ritual, Cold, and Rapid. A whole slew of players to have a much worse performance than they've had so far, even on average. As Aegis and Ritual rotating back on over towards Sandy Strip. Another team, uncontested drop. They really have conditioned a good portion of this lobby to stay away from this mending machine.
You know, and I'm just thinking, Javi and Diminish actually jumped up a placement point last game as well. Their average placement so far in the tournament is 8.6. The best of all the teams right now inside of the top 5.
That's crazy.
That is a pretty impressive stat, just kind of taking a surface glance at it right now. Everyone else, though, clearly, though, has way more elims. That's why they have the higher points overall. But still, Javi and Diminish playing exceptional right now. It's a great time to just start checking in with them. What's going well with them? Why can they keep making it work here? It seems like the Frigid Fortress is treating them very well.
Yeah, and honestly, an unlikely duo coming into this one. You know, at one point it was Reet and Javi, Diminish with a whole other player, and Reet goes ahead and says, hey, Cooper, you want a duo? We're not playing as well as we would hope. So he goes a separate way. Javi and Diminish, they form just in time to have a phenomenal performance in play-ins. They followed up with a good performance in heats, and already continuing that trend here with a top 5 position on the leaderboard, 75 points away. What could be both of those players' first FNCS championship. But again, when you look at the leaderboard on the right, it's just so close, not only for the actual first place on the leaderboard, but for the top 13 overall, where you see 13 and 14th place have already been eliminated out of this lobby. And honestly, you don't want to look back at this moment, Monster, saying, hey, I had the chance and I wasted it.
Yeah, most definitely. And I'm actually looking at the standings just for like Javi and Diminish's, you know, placement performances. They actually have 2 second places in there, and last game obviously pulled that 3rd. So they have come close to a win multiple times now. We will be keeping an eye on them. But with Cold and Rapid here from the Dark Dominion now to this new draw spot so far, it seems to be playing off relatively well. They have 400 damage above, plenty of material, and they actually pull zone. Okay, this is really good for Cold and Rapid right here. They actually needed a little bit of luck, and it seems like it's playing off.
Yeah, I'm thinking in my head, the only thing they're missing is a little bit of high ground, but it's Cold and Rapid. When do they ever play on the high ground? Exactly, they get what they want. Just like Peterbot and Boyo, relentless pressure throughout the entirety of this game. They're almost 1,000 above the threshold, but you wouldn't think that to be true. They only have one elimination so far, so they are going for it. They're going for these high elim games. It's just they're not finding any success on the actual eliminations up until then, where they take down both Jack and NPen before they got to rotate to the next zone. So that's going to replenish a lot of their builds. They can pick and choose what resource they want to take with them before they finally make their way on out.
15,000
because they're really playing to their strengths right now. Goes the Fullberry miss, so they're just going to be shock waving their way all the way into the zone. Shoot, they might even end up on some high ground here shortly. They have the mats to play for it, but Peterbot gets caught in a spider's trap right there. Gotta be careful. On the other side,
my
as
favorite
we were watching
video
that
game
though,
right now.
we missed what was happening over here. Flex, buddy, you're looking the wrong way. Venom
My favorite.
knocks him upside the head, and then they get the follow up in the finish.
Probably Fortnite. Second favorite is Modern Warfare.
Rotating in towards the zone.
Actually, no, Siege.
And they're using that as a quick second
My
here to
third
look back.
favorite's probably
Seeing anybody that
Minecraft.
still has the journey
My
to make, like
fourth
Dozier and Ishu
favorite's
outside of the zone. They're
Probably
just pressuring,
Rocket League.
trying to make it harder for them to not only make it
I
in,
really like
but even
Rocket
if they
League
do,
that much.
they're not going to make it in healthy. Another elimination towards the side. Slepsy and Wage was able to pick up one. Maybe push Paper and Rezi back as Curve looking like he's trying to approach in that direction. You see Benno peeking through the cone, gathering vital information for their team. And you can see Benno and Curve are the only team who haven't been hit by any surge so far in each and every one of these games. It's just going to show that that early game presence by Curve and Benno is paying off 10.
What do pros
They've
pick
just been the most
weirdest
aggressive.
names?
They've, again, been clearly the most successful in the early game. This game's a little bit slower for them in the early game, but their mid game is just taking off right now. They are in another prime situation to play for high ground here in the end game, and we know what they do well. They play it late. They let people get their first, little taste of height, and then they come in and put their influence to the test. Rapid and Cold, though, much different strategy for them. We've seen them play low ground, time in, time out, front
Cold
side.
and Rapid are
dead
doing
side, you
good
name it.
too.
They'll be there. Comes to rotate stuff. This is still a difficult terrain to play with, right? They have to go up and over this mountain, which you have Peterbot and Boyo now completely positioned up, and then you have Clicks and Higgs already basing on the opposite side.
So many times we've seen teams take it early. Clicks and Higgs were able to hold it early on in day number 1, but since then, honestly, it's been changing hands through each and every one of these zones here in the end game. As they position themselves above, Peterbot and Boyo have the luxury to stagger themselves back. Look down, rain fire from above. Not necessarily getting eliminations here, but they are just hurting every single player they connect shots with as they rotate on over. Curve and Benno.
Clicks and Higgs are doing well too
Clicks
right
and
now.
Higgs, we've seen in previous
Only
games, they're trying to go ahead and
114
claim high
points,
ground
though.
as their own. They don't necessarily have that
Okay,
luxury up
Higgs
until now.
is
They pull
crazy.
zone
What is
in their
this?
favor, and they immediately build up saying, hey,
Instantly
if you want high
going
ground,
to
come
height.
take it from us.
That's crazy. And that's
I think
so
they're trying to
different
get,
than anything else we've seen from
the
Clicks and Higgs.
Peterbot and
They've been
Boyo
building
or,
single straight standing
Rapid
towers, but now
and
Higgs is
Cold
putting up this
defense.
huge
Some
flex right
first
now
place
with a
game.
monstrous base. Benno and Curve here have no issues fighting their way to the new zone, though. That was almost a fresh Elim. Oh, actually, it is an Elim. As things catch up there, Venno finds another one. And he was already in the lead, Jacob, with the most amount of Elims, and he's continued to do so. But look at this, not looking good. Boyo's down. Peterbot comes through to clutch up. He finds one. Can he get the follow-up here? He's doing so much damage, but he can't quite get the finish, but it's okay. He's bought Boyo enough time to get saved here.
Yeah, and they have the splashes. They're going to have to instantly start to use those along with the pizza, but the zone is moving in. 10 ticks of damage. Instantly popping the big pot. Really trusting Peterbot to get those splashes out in time. They have to be careful, though. Right above them, Clicks and Higgs. And even in front of zone, we got Curve and Benno. We got Muzz and Sphinx as well. Honestly, the storylines couldn't be any better here in this game because you got first place right now.
Sphinx
Curve and
takes
Benno.
down
It'll be
Ritual.
the first time a player has won in both EU and NA. Two of the hardest.
Oh, Venno takes out Poyo.
Taking one of the hardest teams out of their path to the finish line.
Boyo's down and out. The full Elim comes through right there, Jacob, and he gets the finish as well. And just like that, they're
Where's
up in the
Peterbot
lead
at?
now. Clicks and Higgs, though, on high ground.
Clicks and
doing
Higgs are
exactly
here
what
still.
they need to do. They have solidified the positioning
They
here.
might be able to win.
He's doing
They
a
have-
good job, sacrificing a
Clicks
little
has a
bit
lot
of
of heals.
HP,
He has
so that way
200
they can
chug
go deep into the
and
zone, reconnect on
3
that high ground.
pizzas.
It's going over towards Frigid.
That's
Fortress,
about
that gives them the luxury to look towards the
103
backside of the zone,
pizzas,
seeing
so.
players late to shockwave in, but they think it's all smooth sailing. But Curve and Veno
That's
wait for these
300
perfect
shield.
moments. They've
That's
elevated
300
themselves step by
shield.
step, and they're waiting until they least suspect it. But Peterbot still going on his rampage. Big down onto Dragon, trying to pick up that elimination. But Curve and Veno, they're matching him blow for blow.
8 Elims now. Veno is really starting to heat up here, and they're not even interested in jumping down for Max. Notice that. They want to maintain this positioning, and they're still trying to time for high ground here to try to play for another win. Higgs, though, is the only one up top. They send Clicks down low. Clicks finds Peterbot, finishes him up, sweeps him
Oh,
under the
let's
rug.
go.
And now, Veno and Curve. Here comes the setup. Off they go. Curve's got no mat, so they have to concede to go lower and lower here. And this terrain's not helping. Look at all these old builds as things
Clicks
are moving
and
back
Higgs
and
are
forth, but
both
Veno
really
and
healthy
Curve
right now.
are still neck to neck with Clicks and Higgs right here.
Yeah, Curve and Veno, I feel like they know they don't even necessarily need the high ground. They don't even necessarily need the win. They just need to remain consistent. That slows them down a little bit. Big shot is going to land onto Veno. Pressure coming from
431
up above.
points.
Thank gosh that Curve is there to alleviate some of the pressure, holding on to the build. But if you blink, you might have missed it. Higgs has went down. Clicks trying to go for the revive. Curve and Veno realize
Oh my
nobody
gosh.
else is up there to contest it. They use the fizz. They use the shockwave. They instantly take away that high ground. 6 teams left, Monster, and everybody at least has the duo by their side unless it's cold. He goes down. Rapid is now left by himself.
And he has the awareness too.
Sphinx
The
took
awareness
out
to keep
Cold.
shooting back at them. Veno tries to keep the pressure, but the shockwaves put Clicks and Higgs up on high ground, and they know we don't have enough mats to hold this one down. Clicks and Higgs managed to have just enough HP though to go ahead and heal back in this game, but then you have Rapid. Look at this, just solo surviving right now as a player here in the mid ground right now. Trying to evaluate what he wants to do here, but he's got pressure coming in from potentially Veno and Curve here on the layer. Right behind he comes and he actually finds Curve. It's gonna be Muzz who jumps in and they get the full
No,
finish.
Curve
Yeah,
goes
still,
down to
that's no worries
Sphinx.
to me. Veno's just
Sphinx
taking
is
this time
taking
to
out
heal up,
everybody.
quickly go and scurries outside of the zone. Still almost a full chug left, but Higgs is quickly
No.
on the chase, gets a good amount of damage
Come on,
until the zone
come on,
does
Clicks.
the rest. Clicks and Higgs have finally woken up from their slumber. From day 1 to day 2, they finally found their form back. 5 eliminations here, but Rapid is still up, trying to close the gap. Pig down onto Sphinx, separates him from Muzz, but you see he has no builds. He probably feels in the back of his mind he has to get this elimination, but underneath, Braids takes him down, gets the elimination,
Muzz-
and moves 1 step closer to
Muzz
first.
dies.
I was gonna say, talking about this.
Come on,
Bolts
Clicks.
and Acorn were down low. Now they're the sleeping giants starting to wake up here, putting their influence in the mix, but you have a lot more
on,
players
spectate
worried about.
Clicks and
Braids and
Higgs.
Visuals are here to mess around as well. They also need the refresh too, as they're out of material, so
Clicks
they're gonna be
here
forced
still?
into this fight here, whether you like it or not. And then, of course, Clicks and Higgs have to come down
Oh,
and
yeah, they're
jump
on
in this
height.
battle as well. Bolts uses the shockwave to go up. Someone gets eliminated in the sky. It's actually Clicks. He couldn't touch down in time. And Bolts and Acorn all of a sudden now find themselves in a winning position.
Ah.
And the shot goes through. And just like that, Bolts manages to do it again here.
Yeah, Bolts and Acorn pop off in the second to last game of the day, becoming the second team to win 2 different games this weekend and in a leaderboard, Monster. In a world that is so stacked and close, this one is surely going to move them 1 step closer to contending for another FNCS championship. Zeke, 1 left game to go. Let's do it.
1 game left. We're probably gonna finish
I
this
keep thinking, man, like I've got a handle on it.
probably
There's
like
you know, Zeke, just follow the action. It's all cool. And no, man. We
15.
literally just talked about the top 5 right before this, right? And Acorn and Bolts were that 6th place team. They were the team on the outside, and they said, Zeke, I'm sorry. Did you forget about us? We can now be in the top 5. Why did you forget about us? And now they are fighting for our love and affection. I cannot believe this. Game 11 with so many Titanic duos, all doing the same thing, thinking, bro, we can do it. This is our chance. With 2 games left, we can fight for an axe. Acorn and Bolts say, you know what? We'd like to toss our name in the hat. Little name in the hat. There you go, Zeke. Go ahead. Shuffle it up. I don't know. Kelly, I'm losing it. I'm freaking out.
I mean, this really was the game for our teams in that 6th to 10th place spot. Everyone that was in our top 5 having some issues, either going down to a solo situation or going down early, you know, unless you're Veno.
Acorn and
but
Bolt.
this Acorn and Bolts that were just right outside of that edge, making sure that they're just playing the low ground. They're playing what they do best. They don't need to be disruptor. They don't need to be getting all these eliminations. They just need to make it to the end game right there. And Bolts once again going to a solo, improving that he is going to make sure that him and Acorn stay at the top of our leaderboard.
So funny. Game 11 there. I mean, we're just watching all the chaos kind of unfold on night. Oh my gosh, Peterbot's trying to hold it. Flicks and Higgs, they go up for it. Benno and Curve, they start to get active. All this stuff's happening. Elim. And then we take a look at where everybody else is at. Acorn and Bolts on the low ground. 100, full, healthy duo. And they finish the game just like that as a duo. Incredible stuff for them to kind of re-enter the conversation, not only in that game specifically, because they didn't even know they were alive in that game. All of a sudden, it's like, oh my gosh, they're chilling on the low ground. But now I can only imagine how close they are to keep themselves back in the competition for the win.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that
crazy.
little angle, that little tiny little corner was the difference maker. 574.
All right, I'm muting this tab so we could talk about some predictions. So, I think, well, my prediction is probably that Clicks and Higgs are unfortunately not going to be winning this FNCS. But some good news is, should I say it? Alright, screw it, I'm saying it. The good news is, Typical Gamer might be getting an icon skin. After all this time, he deserving an icon skin. Anyways, back to the yap about the game. My prediction is probably that, what was I gonna say? Yeah, Clicks and Higgs are definitely not gonna win. I think, Cold and his teammate, I forgot what his name was, but Cold and his teammate, I think, are gonna win. Honestly, my prediction. But I mean, yeah, I gotta see what the leaderboard is, and I'm hoping Clicks is able to make it to land, because that would be crazy. Anyways, without further ado, back to the game. Anyways, since we still have a minute, I want to show you guys something. Hold up. We can still listen to that, but actually, hold up. Let me mute that tab. And we have my files. Oh. All of these are different videos, and if you, I'll just give you a sneak preview. I think it was, I'll watch this for a second. What's up, guys? Sneak preview of a new video. We're gonna be playing a tournament. I don't want to spoil any more of it, but back to the game. Oh. But that video will be coming out soon. Nothing much. I mean, like, maybe some different games, like,
Stay there.
some of my other channels are gonna be getting revived, such as Max's Shorts and Max's Bikes. So those are gonna be coming out and being revived, basically.
Okay.
Where's Z?
All right. I'm
Oh, there
fine.
he is.
I'm calm.
He's not.
Everything is okay. hey, in case you're joining us, welcome. This is the FNCS Grand Finals. No big deal. One of the most important moments in the
Zeke speaks
FNCS.
so
We have one game left to
nonchalant.
go. You know, hey, crazy stuff happened in that last game. Acorn and Bolts got themselves a victory out of that last game.
He's
That's
getting
crazy, right?
more
Yeah.
and more crazy
Why don't we go and take a look at the standings
after he
because it
said
gets
he's okay.
crazier. Because right now, Curve and Veno are in first place
All right, they
with
went up.
659 points.
Curve and Venom 659
They have 78
points.
eliminations, more than double that of Acorn and
That's
Bolts.
absolutely crazy.
Veno and Curve
They're here to
have
win.
showed
this FNCS.
today what they do best.
There's
Those early
no way.
eliminations going
See,
into mid game, making sure that they
mean,
don't
like,
have to
there's
worry
no way
about
they
Storm
don't.
Surge, and then controlling the mid ground, either chopping people from above or eliminating people down below. They do it time and time again. And you know what?
Am I
Maybe
epic
day one wasn't their
partner yet?
day, but it's better late
Yes,
than
I am
never.
epic
Veno
partner.
showing everyone why he is not just moving states like we see a lot of these players do in North America.
See?
No, he's
No, I'm
moving
not giving you
countries
leads.
to claim this as his own. Manifesting destiny is all about America's
I mean,
history,
I know a
and he's
couple
showing why
leads,
Britain
but
did
I
it first over here.
Please put an absolute huge
yeah.
exclamation
for the
point
new
on the
season?
fact
No, I
that
don't
these
have leads for
guys
the new season.
were in 10th place coming into the day. We have played 5 games, and they now have an 85-point lead over
Just
second
6
place.
hours.
I don't know what
seven,
kind
maybe
of
8.
crazy stat
It's
or,
like
or
7
how this is
hours
going to
of
look on
Fortnite.
paper, but this has to be one of the most incredible day 2 performances, day 2 comebacks, whatever you want to call
Clayster
it,
Higgs have the
that we have
least
ever
amount of
seen. I
kills,
mean,
only
look at
26.
78. How in the heck? What's even going on? These guys, every single time we watch the game, it's just a highlight reel for them.
Dude, you know, we were talking about it during the break there, and it's like at a certain point, this is going to become mathematically impossible, right? Like at a certain point, we've tuned into them at like the early stages of the game, and they have 4 or 5 or, you know, even 3 elims, right? They just have to do what they've been doing all day long, and they will
I don't
walk
think
away
Cypher
as the winners. Now, we only have a minute and a half.
typical
I really
gamer.
quickly just want to flip on over the top 13, right?
I don't think so.
Yes, we are absolutely playing for a first place and an act, but we also can't forget top 13 are right now playing 298. Do not forget that number going into this game. 298 is the current cutoff. Seek and Taki are holding that. But guys, we have one game left to go. Let's like even just look at Scare and Osid, right? We saw Scare and Osid pop off earlier on, like not even just a few weeks ago.
Crazy.
They could try and play for that spot.
Seek
Look at
and
Jargu
Taki.
as well, right? Even Zytho, we saw them get a victory royale. I mean, Kelly, there's so many players. This goes down on
I'll
20.
see
down to
you
20,
guys.
Kelly.
Yeah.
It's possible.
It's literally like 42 points that
50
separate 13 from
seconds
20th place,
for
and I'm guessing it's even closer down
the
below.
last
so we could probably get to
game,
page 3, some
12
teams in our
of
30th place
FNCS
spot. If they
Major
have that
1,
pop-off game, and we
Day
know that there is a
2 Grand
possibility of some
Finals.
teams just kind of sliding by, making it into the top 5 and just grabbing a handful of eliminations. That right there is 90 points and could be the difference maker of going to Dusseldorf or not. Vivid, this is what NAC is all about. We have so many big names in the top. All the teams that we have been talking about are finally showing up right now, and this is the final game.
It's crazy. I mean, there's so much stuff going on that leaderboard, so much we could break down. But there's only one way to find out who's going to walk away. Not only champions, who's going to get second, who's going to get third, who's going to qualify to the LAN event, and that's just to play the games.
Vivid, the last game of the day right now. Fortnite fam, lock in every single thing that these players do. Whether they get an elim or get eliminated, this is it. The last game to make the impossible possible. For the last time today, MDF, Jacob PR, take it away.
Honestly, Monster, I've never seen so many storylines go down the leaderboard so far. Curve could win his first FNCS champion. Veno could win 2 titles on the hardest regions of EU and NA and add his 4th overall. Acorn could win another major one. Bolt could be a West and Central champion. Cold back on top. Rapid wins his first. I could keep going all day, but it just goes to show the stories are endless today.
This is what makes NA one of the best regions to watch. It's what is really the pinnacle of what Fortnite's all about. And we, of course, have the privilege of calling all the
And
action
we're
here.
back
You've been
for
watching go down. Let's see.
FNCS Major 1 Day
on your
2
side.
Grand Finals Game 12.
Coming into a game 12 of honestly the most recent FNCS is almost a year now. People always have that same conversation. Who will land on first place? And right now, it looks like we have an interesting situation breaking down. Peterbot and Poyo look to contest Curve and Veno, but Curve and Veno already seen that one coming. They leave, they go to Squibbly Shores, and they get another
Who just went down?
early game elimination. Zeke said it, Monster. Eventually, this will become mathematically impossible for anybody outside of Curve and Veno to win.
I called it. I already knew this was going to happen. I knew that Veno was someone that Peterbot and Poyo like respect at such a competitive level. They would be willing to contest them. They would be willing to try to throw their tournament off.
Wait a
But
minute, should we
Veno
check
is one of the
something?
smartest players
Let's see
we've
if
ever had,
Flix
and
is
he will see
live.
it from a mile
Hold
away.
up.
So even
Is Clicks live? Hold up. Check if Clicks is live right now. Hold up. Let's see. Clicks. Is he not live? No, I think he's live on Twitch. He's 100% live on
A
Twitch.
little bit longer than we'd hope. Peterbot lands a shot, but Poyo goes down. Raven is escaping back inside of the building. That puts Peterbot in a 1v2.
oh no, and the finish comes through as well. And that is not the way you want this to start going down right here. If you're Peterbot or Poyo, you need so
Sure
many
can
more
pull up
points. You cannot
Twitch.
afford to be get set this far behind. Peterbot though, in a world of trouble here. Plenty of enemy builds. He's gonna have to back off. Shot through the wall as well. This is
Anyways, so you
of
guys
course
see, I'm
Raven
gonna,
and
hold
CDZ's
up,
one
pull
chance
up
to go and
Twitch.
pounce on him. But Peterbot's back in the mix here, fully healthy.
I don't think I
This
have
is an
Twitch.
important
Hold up.
shot here, and things
I
are
have
looking
Twitch,
pretty
hold up.
south now for him.
Yeah, the biggest thing here was Peterbot was able to get the materials from Poyo, but Raven lands
Just gonna pull it up here because I want to show my account. Twitch. See if he's live. Clicks is not live. Okay, Clicks is.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Clicks is not live. Okay.
2 quick elims, even shooting the down
I'm gonna make
bodies.
sure that this is all the way up to date.
Peterbot, who's now hiding inside of the factory. Just unprecedented type of endgame right now. You never see this level of clash go down here. Definitely not for the likes of Peterbot. He's normally the one hunting. Now he's being hunted.
Yeah, they probably saw in the feed that Poyo did go down, so they immediately
Yeah,
left
why
their
did
drop
I
spots.
did
beelined
close
it on over.
Fortnite earlier.
This is a team that's on
I
their
was-
tail. Cold is
so I
in
could
third place. You see it
multitask.
there. Peterbot and Poyo in fourth
And
place.
pulse.
It really was
something
asking
else
the question,
up.
is anybody going to be brave enough with the point gap so close? You would
knowing the
really risk your
multitask
spot
and
on the
something.
leaderboard if you were looking to go on the chase. But Veno, Curve, they not only left their drop spot at Battlewood, they left their second drop spot at
'cause
Swizzly, and they're
it's,
already
it's,
going
like,
on the
harder to
hunt
pull up
for these
different maps.
elims. They don't want to win after Game 12, Monster. They
I'm
want to win
so
during this
hyped
game so they can take a much-needed
this.
victory lap.
This is the
Well,
game.
this is crazy. You know, if you just allow them to
75
continue
left
to get
already?
elims like this,
Hold up,
which
hold
they
up, hold
have
up.
done extremely
Hold up.
successfully, way more successfully than any other team
I
here on the weekend. They
think
will be too
is
far
gonna
ahead.
be crazy.
We would be asking so much.
Oh,
of
wait,
Cold
wait,
and
wait.
Raptor.
Veno
We're talking
Curve are
upwards of
getting
10,
pushed.
15 elims and a
Oh.
victory royale.
Curve goes for the
Just a second
elimination.
now, so from one team wipe onto another now, Dozier and Escher trying to fight the fired up Veno and Curve here. Meanwhile,
my
Curve has
God,
been
what
live
a-
this entire time, by the way. Do not sleep on him. This is, again, nothing like we've ever seen before.
Yeah, especially for Mom and
Peterbot's
Pop
down.
Curve. Imagine him. Oh, he is eliminated by Cold and Rapid. Peterbot goes down in 4th place, tied with Agers and Ritual. Could only get worse from there, but Veno takes a big shot, but he is not backing down.
I don't know if
Ishu
any of the
gets eliminated.
creators
Siphon
play
comes in.
alive.
Much needed builds get replenished by Veno. Curve not slowing down, trying to alleviate the pressure. Lands a huge shot on the Zosier and the elimination one as well. 5 elims, Monster. 5 eliminations here. This is domination at its finest in Major 1 on NA Central.
Looking so good for them right now.
Yeah.
Rapid and Cold right now on the hunt too, just trying to figure out what is going on here. They're already at 3 elims as well. So Rapid and Cold are playing so aggressive too. You gotta give them credit right here. We know what the task at hand is. We know what needs to be done. And it really does feel like the impossible. It's asking them to pop off right now and go into the upper double-digit elimination territory and potentially win the game. Because for them, it's about the championship victory. Jumping over to Brilliant and Jargudel, playing a little bit of the storm fight right here, keeping us busy right now.
Essentially, 2 sides of the coin. We're watching the battle for first. Oh,
Veno's
Veno's down. Veno is down, but Curve saves the day.
my
What
gosh.
are we witnessing? This is a montage performance. I don't want to call it too soon, Monster, but this is beginning to look like a victory lap for Curve and Veno.
The writing's on the wall. You just have to read it, brother. All right? It's whenever you're ready, just let us know. They're at 6 eliminations now. Aquid and Bolts a little cheeky here, though. Trying to see if anyone's willing to kind of sneak on by to find a couple elims right now. And let's just paint the bigger picture.
All right, guys,
Obviously,
hopefully-
Curve
I
and
gotta go
Veno
do something.
off to the races right now.
The
A
worst
100-point gap separating them from the rest of the competition. And then you have so many other teams trying to fight for a land spot to the Global Summit. It's right around the corner. Who is going to be in Germany? Only the top 13 will make it.
And as it stands right now, in order for Cold and Rapid to win the tournament, this is as it stands right now, they need Curve and Veno to go down outside of top 25 with not a single elimination more. And then they need to win the game with 10 or so eliminations in the double digits. So it's going to show how much of a runaway this is turning into. And that's where you see a lot of lurks going down, because it's not only the battle for first. If you look at Tyler and Chance here, 391 points on the overall leaderboard. They're in 10th place. If they go down early, they can kiss their summit spot goodbye.
Definitely be really close for them. They'll be holding on to a thin margin. Taki and Seek on the other side. Same can be said for these teams here. 208 points earned on the tournament day. So you are seeing moments of greatness here coming out. Some of our competitors here on the 2-day format.
Attack gonna make a quick, clean glide here. They're just trying to dodge all the noise down below, having to worry about Surge, having to worry about others rotating in your path. Be a good plan for Seek and Taki here.
All right.
13th place. They just
Chat,
need
the
to hold
craziest
on to
thing's
their current
happening
spot on that
downstairs.
leaderboard. Clicks and eggs, though.
So
Moment ago, did see
basically,
them in the feed. They picked
if you
up
haven't
at
watched
least
any of
one
my
more
IRL
elimination
videos,
here. They
but
too
out,
have a
if
little
you
bit
have
more
it,
of a cushion than some of the other
outside we have like
counterparts.
3 acres.
430 points in 9th
There's
place.
5
They
deer
just need to make sure to finish strong. It's more
outside,
of a
like
confidence thing than
right
anything else, I feel like,
in
at this
front of
point.
our back door window,
Yeah, gotta find
and
their
feeding them.
groove, but again, you've made
Dude,
it
I wish
this
I could
far.
stay there.
We
They're so
had
cute.
Such exceptional moments.
But
and
this is more
greatness.
important.
But in the end, everything has to come
To me,
together.
yes.
And then how do you account for having the curves, the colds, those types of performances that we've seen? It's tough to ask. All things have to come together. Cooper and Rito, they're still fighting for their qualification seat. They're not fully safe just yet. Not at least how I feel. Let's take a look at the standings here.
Is
Set up with
Odyssey
them at
Antics
12th
like
place there,
considered a
Jacob.
pro?
So close.
I
would
don't
say they have
ever
a
see him
22
play
point gap
Fortnite.
from 13th.
Am I
with
gonna be
actually
live?
the
Yes,
line And then about a 44 or so point gap between them and falling outside of the bubble, which means anything could be possible. If they go down, let's just say 15th place, and anybody
Yes,
else kind
I'll
of
still
is
be
able to
live
secure
until
a top
probably,
8 or better, they can certainly overtake them on the leaderboard. But definitely
Probably.
so many different possibilities here as the tournament
Live for a
continues
while.
on. Threats and
I'll
Beer, a
probably
team that
just be
started
playing
inside of the
Fortnite.
bubble on the day,
Answer
shortly
you guys'
fell
questions.
out of it and is trying to work their way back. Aviv and King, another similarity here, 17th place coming into this game, which means those eliminations, 8 more points is definitely going to boost them up
Probably
the
what I
leaderboard
would be
just a
doing.
little bit. I think that
Might not be
almost puts them
talking
on
too
the
much.
line outside of that bubble around 14th place with those elims.
Yeah, Viven King the last 2 games have played really well, actually making it to endgame, and this time they actually have 4 total elims, so just a monstrous performance so far, definitely stepping up and doing what they need to when it matters most. Enough and Saul kind of see what's going on here. They end up backing off. You have Osid and Scare, another team that's very much in the conversation right now. Looking at how they've played, we have a 4th place as far as their best performance so far in last game, roughly 15th for them with a single elim. So not too bad, definitely earning some placement points. If they can keep that up, they might just be doing enough to jump up and in.
This is going to be an interesting lobby slash end game, because if you look at like day 1, we were getting what, fourth zone surge, sometimes even earlier because how stacked the lobby is. To start the day, we were getting 5th zone, maybe 6th zone surge. There's only 60 players up. There's only 30 teams left in this lobby right now in the 4th zone, so it's rather thinned out, moving at a much more accelerated pace. So you have to be careful on some of these rotations. So instead of being able to rotate, stack with a bunch of other teams, hoping they choose them instead of you, now some of these rotations will be a little bit more bare, with you and maybe 1 or 2 other teams being the only one rotating in that direction.
I mean, when you have Cold,
I didn't
Rapid,
realize
Acorn,
how long
Bolts,
these games
Urban,
actually
Veno
are.
looking for
compared
elims,
to,
right?
like,
Trying
regular
to
games
either
that are,
push
like,
the gap, close the gap.
15
Like,
minutes.
this is what happens. The lobby will tend to thin
These
out.
are, like,
And then everyone else, of
25
course, trying to fight for their qualification spot. Look at this, though. Veno curve inside the storm right now. They surely know they've done enough, right? So now it's just time to chill out, hang out, enjoy the storm for a little bit. Here on the beach. Have no reason to really put themselves in any danger here.
None at all, especially with the zone moving on over towards the south. They know they can essentially ride the shoreline, whether they try to make a little shortcut in, go on top of the mountains. They can go all the way towards the south. They do got 1 zone, though, that they really have to worry about. So going from zone 4 to zone 5, it moves from a 1 tick of damage into 2. From zone 5 to zone 6, it would move from a 2 tick damage into a 5. So even though they do have a lot of time on their side, they don't want to use all their resources just getting into zones. Since you can kind of see on the map there on your left side that so many other teams are also outside of the zone and inside of their path that could certainly cut them off.
Max
Definitely
maps.
they're moving really quickly. Wagers and Sleepsy, though. Look at this. A little bit of a high ground position right here.
They're both
Still,
max.
though, no surge warnings in
Wagers
sight.
and
This game is moving so fast
are
right now
both
as the lobby's
max
starting to
maps.
thin out. And this is a pretty congested north side of the Battlewood Boulevard, so kind of a new site for us, if you will. Looking at the names that are in play here. Jack, N-Pen, Acorn, Bolts. On the other side, Osid and Scare. Scare, though, gets fully finished right here. One of our bubble teams is out to the hands of Sikentaki. This is super important. Actually, it was Wagers from up top. It wasn't Sikentaki, but they're right next to that collateral damage.
Almost all the same, though. Sikentaki, that 13th place, Scare and Osid, or I should say, just one Osid by himself. Is going to be in 14th place. He has a bit of a gap to overcome. And anything is possible. 29 teams still up, so 4 more go down. You'll start to get those placement points, and they'll cascade in with each and every team that does go down. Contrapt's going to fall, and already 1 less team to worry about here. 55 players left in this game, so there's only 1 solo running around, and that's going to be Osid.
Gotta do what he gotta do, though. It's really close, yet so
Crazy.
far now. It's all gonna come down to, can you earn your way towards the positioning placement points there? Still see Reet and Cooper up in the distance. Agers and Ritual here sitting pretty. Box open, eyes on Acorn and Bolts. Little did they know. Oh, look at this zone, though. It pulls north. Okay, so this is gonna be working against the
Ritual
likes of
and
Curve
Agers
Venom,
aren't too
obviously
stacked.
Wrapping far around
Honestly.
the outskirts.
The shotgun's only green, which is surprising. Usually they have at
Trying to
least blue or purple.
Not necessarily damage for Surge as it does turn on. 14 players do need to go down, but you can see where they stand. 400 above the damage threshold. Since they're right next to the zone monster, they don't have to do much movement at all. Just kind of focus on getting that damage while not receiving much. Acorn and Bolts try to land some shots onto Npen and Jack in the distance. Inadvertently kind of
Npen's
alleviating some of the
still
pressure.
alive,
Npen
which
and
is
Jack could have looked
crazy.
to get aggressive.
I don't know
Acorn
even
and
how
Bolts,
he made it in
132 above the damage threshold. They sit in third place on the leaderboard, a mere 6 points out of second. A huge chunk of money differential. And I was talking about
I really
Bolts.
wish
If
I would've
somehow,
made it
some
in
way, a
here,
miracle
but
can happen.
I
Acorn and
didn't
Bolts
qual.
keeps the Major One magic alive. Bolts will become another player
I
on that
made it
short
to the
list
last
of
chance
2
seats, and
region champions. I know
then
Veno is certainly
I'm
in line to
equal.
becoming another player on that list in 2 of the hardest regions in Fortnite, in NA Central and EU.
Yeah, definitely looking to make history here and now. Reed and Cooper sitting pretty strong right now, guys. 340 damage above, safe in the zone, plenty to work with right now. That's the type of position you want to see Reed and Cooper in if they're going to land. See Kentucky on the other side, same can be said for them. Still have a couple shockwaves to work with. Not too many to make it towards endgame, but hey, enough to at least stay in the race here for quite some time. It's all going to come down to a refresh for Kentucky, though. See if they could time to rotate. Looking at who's positioned up, though. Clicks and Higgs trying to end this one with the splash. Already you can see them poison up for that high ground here, Jacob.
Yeah, just still, no matter what's been going good or bad in some of these games, they're just continuously one of the teams that, you know, if they make it this far into the game, they're going to contest for that high ground. King and Aviv just outside of that bubble sees 2 teams with a little bit of a scuffle going on. They try to land some shots before they go ahead and make their way on over. They're just trying to pressure them so that way they don't make any peaks, makes the rotation that much safer. That was Reed and Cooper in that distance. They're 193 above the damage threshold, inside of that qualification ring. They just need to be able to hold on here, especially more so now with Javi in a minute looking to walk them down.
Really close now to earning some positioning points here as well. 28 teams still standing. Curve finds Kingling there in the feed. Veno super hit up off the rotate here. That brings them up to 7 eliminations. And Curve finding his moment, finding his footing now. These last couple games, I mean, it's been the Veno show, but Curve has stepped up when it mattered most. Even in this game, clutching Elim after Elim, and now finding the follow-up and the refresh that they need to succeed here. Clicks and Higgs, though, just want to do what they can do best.
Uh-oh. Not the best spot to be in for a team in second place, below the damage threshold. Boats persistence there is able to lead some shots through underneath that cover, get them above the damage threshold. A mere 5, but at least it's something. They're not taking active surge, but it's 25 damage every 7 seconds. Blake and Preston trying to put down some pressure, but only for a short moment. Bolts is going to be able to hold off. Get through the comb, though. Getting this information is going to be vital,
Surge.
but Buzz gets the down onto Clicks.
29,
I see it in the
58
feed.
above
Sphinx even
Surge.
gets the cleanup here. High ground changing hands, but it's not Muzz and Sphinx. Right now, it looks like Aviv. It looks like Curve and Veno are all fighting for it.
Yeah, if you look at it, Curve, Veno come in out of nowhere, just trying to time that high ground, and up they go. Meanwhile,
Even
Threats and
asking,
Beer
oh,
still
Matt, you're
fighting
not
to stay in the
playing real
tournament.
tournaments.
Life as well.
Why
Higgs on the left side
can
clutches
you
up a
see
nice
all
little
this
Elim for
tournament
himself.
stats?
That's going to drop
Because
G-Monster, send him
I
back
like
to the
to look
lobby.
at them
He
on
might
other
not have enough to
monitors
make
so I
it to
can
land.
see that
Meanwhile,
better,
high
like
ground
all
is
of that. It wouldn't
solidified
do
by
that.
Muzz and Sphinx, but Higgs gets
It's
swiped
required
out the
to turn
sky,
it off. the
hanging up
in-game
for a
one
little
off.
too long. Acorn and Bolts
Comparing
fighting for
the
second
one
at this
that's
point.
actually
If you can't take down Curve
that
and
you're
Veno now,
looking
it'll
at.
just be too late.
Yep. Literally, this is the moment right here. As soon as they get into the top 15, I almost think it's a wrap. Mathematically impossible. Threads drops down low outside of the bubble. I'm not sure he secured enough points before finally going down there. Muzz and Sphinx up above. Reed and Cooper sacrificing the HP, staying outside of the zones. That way they can fizz, they can shockwave, and hopefully get to the front side. But they're just taking so much damage. They don't have the heals to get up to full HP and shield anymore.
Muzz and Sphinx still putting pressure from up top. Cooper Reed trying to stay alive, seeking Taki fighting their way towards a qualification, and teams are dropping faster than you can even realize. We're already up into the top 17 now. Curve and
Oh my
Venom
God,
are
that's
not
crazy.
stopping though. Another team falls to their hands. It's a Minish and Javi. A top 5 performance was valiant for them on the standings coming into this. But it's Curve and Venom who are fighting for the championship win now. And look at this, Jacob. I mean, they are breaking away with a huge lead.
Yep, and even when it looks like it's bleak, Benno gets dropped down to a sliver of HP. They're surviving. Bolt's trying to do the same thing. 5 HP, loses Acorn though, so we need another big solo clutch performance. Almost runs into Curve and Benno all along the way, but he's able to slip past them as Curve and Benno find another elimination before Benno finally goes down. Curve is out of builds here, trying to use the shock to splash to keep himself as full of HP as possible, even finding a Fizz to utilize here on the side. Curve, I think, has done enough inside of the top 10. He finds another elimination onto Cooper. Curve might have gone down, but they are your FNCS Major 1 champions.
They've done it. They've done enough to
Sphinx
be
and
up at
Muzz
the
are
top,
alive
to
still.
sit on the throne now. Venno
They have to
is
go
the
down.
conqueror of 2 regions here. In Curve, his first time ever, gets to taste that victory here. But for now,
Yeah,
Muzz
Curve
and
doesn't
Sphinx are
have
trying
that.
to find their victory lap. This is all a battle for money. This is all battles for seats at the LAN event where the story will continue.
Jargu needs this. Jargu needs this game here. They were 15th place to start it all, and now he's the only solo left in this game. The 2 teams that are left alive, Monster, both of them already have their spot secured, so this is everything for Jargu by himself. Tries the shockwave in. He gets tagged up left and right, down in 3rd place. Did he do enough to qualify for Dusseldorf?
Well, it's going to be really close for now, though. The action's
Oh!
on. Muzz here. who
Muzz
finds
takes out
elimination.
Azers.
Ritual gets tagged up big time. Sphinx looking
Let's
for
go!
the summit, and he
Sphinx
does it
and
in the
Muzz.
end. And that's going to be a
With their
nice,
first win.
wonderful way to end the FNCS there.
That was more than just a wonderful way. Curve and Benno's complete and utter domination
Give
of
a round of
region.
applause.
Congratulations for Curve, his first FNCS champion. We always remember our first, and Benno, probably the most important FNCS title, dominating a whole nother region. Muzz and Sphinx win that game, but see, Kelly and Vivid, we have a new champion. Let's go, Muzz! Let's go, Muzz! That's right, baby. Let's go.
Sorry, I had to get that out of the way. Sorry. Anyway, first off, really quickly, MDF, Jacob, thank you guys so much for the cast. Fantastic day. As they called out, it is true. Venno and Curve are your champions in NAC. A 4th title for Venno and a 1st for Curve. I mean, Kelly, Vivid, you know, we call Vivid called this out right last game. They came in today 10th place, and I think for most people, you probably look at the standings at that point. You're like, okay, yeah, like maybe they're probably not gonna get a 4th. They might could end like top 5 or something. But Kelly, Venno turned it on, and there was just game after game where he's solo clutching, getting, you know, at one point a 2nd place with 11 elims, a 2nd place with like 7 elims. He's just firing on all cylinders, and no one can stop him. No one. And on the back of this carry right now we're looking at Venno and Curve being FNCS champions.
I mean, you're saying no one can stop them, but we saw at the start of this game that a few players did try to stop the run of Curve and Venno. They tried, but they failed because Curve and Venno were prepared. They were aware. Because Venno, he's not just an incredible fragger. He's also incredibly smart and aware when it comes to Fortnite. When it comes to the mindset of other pro players, he has them downloaded. And so he knows what these players are going to do, and he knows exactly how to respond to it. Curve and Venno showing everyone that they deserve this spot. They deserve 1st place. And honestly, just watching them climb up the leaderboard, not necessarily through placements, Vivid, but to get elim after elim, to get so many. I honestly don't even know where they are at the end of the day. I'm excited to see our leaderboard.
Socials are going crazy, talking about, oh my gosh, Venno has entered his 2nd prime, his 3rd prime, his 4th prime. I mean, whatever you want to call it, the guy is absolutely popping off, and I couldn't agree more. I once regarded Venno as literally the best player in the world, and so did a lot of people, right? This was back in like chapter 3, chapter 4, around that era, where I remember VOD reviewing this guy and being like, oh my gosh, everything he does is just so perfect. And listen, I don't know what he did between day 1 and day 2. I don't know how good of sleep that he got overnight. But I gotta tell you, he looked like that Veno once again, unstoppable. And you know, we're giving a lot of credit towards Veno. Curb was right there with him up there, statistically speaking, always by his side. I mean, this was a duo competition, and they together just stomped everybody else.
I mean, it's
We were
crazy to
talking to
think.
Lev. Go ahead, Kelly. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say that it's crazy to think that a few weeks ago, this would have been a very different story because it was going to be Veno and Cold for a while. And it wasn't until Cold ended up playing with Rapid that Veno ended up picking Curve. So the fact that that is how this came to fruition and then they end up winning the major is just so amazing to me.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Cold, you're thinking, did I make a mistake? Did I make a mistake? But you know what? It is what it is. We were talking with Lev, and Lev was saying, you know, man, I'm so happy for Veno. You know, for a moment he forgot who he was, but today he remembers. Congratulations, Veno and Curve, FNCS champions. You can take a look at those standings because, man, they just put on an absolute clinic. Let's look at this: 727 points ahead of Agers and Ritual. Man, you know, again, congratulations. I do want to highlight this top 5 though as well. Shout outs to Agers and Ritual, Acorn and Bolt, Cold and Rapid, and Muzz and Sphinx, who show up in that last game to sneak their way into that top 5. That's why I'm freaking out. That's why I'm freaking out, Kelly.
And it's so funny too because they've kind of just been like hiding in the shadows a little bit. They haven't necessarily been playing poorly, but it was these last few games where I start to see their names just a little bit more. They're staying alive, they're getting eliminations, and they're just playing what they want to play best. They didn't really worry about pop-off games. They didn't worry about making a showing for hype. No, Muzz and Sphinx played what they did best. Whew. Vivid. This is just the top 10 though. We still have a few more teams to look at.
Absolutely, and that'll be the big question, right? Who actually went ahead and clinched up that qualification? I mean, Jacob was screaming, he was yelling, Jargu needed that game. He needed that game for sure. Jargu and Carillion, the solo clutch to sneak in to top 13 by just 2 points to knock Seek and Takiel to go ahead and qualify for Dusseldorf. We could also see up there Cole and Madden clutch up. They were hanging around 10th place throughout the entirety of Grand Finals. It kind of felt like bumped down to 12th, but still qualifying there. And then we got Reet and Cooper, who I think needed that game as well to go ahead and clinch up 372 points. So they did well. And there we have it, Zeke. That rounds up all of the NA teams that are going to be going to Dusseldorf from these Grand Finals.
And that's why you can't give up, right, Viv? That's exactly why in those final moments, you know, just think about it. Being in that situation, it's just you, the last game to make something happen, and Jargu does, right? And now he's going to keep his FNCS dream alive. He's going to be going to the summit. Oh my gosh, what a fantastic day here in NA. And, you know, I just want to really quickly just double back to Curve and Veno. I think probably my favorite part of that game, Kelly and Vivid, was the fact that, like, in that last game, immediately Veno sniffed something out. He's like, you know what?
Honestly, I had a great
this
time.
lobby's going to try and hunt me down. They're going to try and stop me from winning
like
right here, right now.
Game, like I said
and they make
earlier.
a last-second pivot.
I mean, it feels very appropriate that Veno would be able to sniff out Peterbot. I feel like they kind of have the same mindset when it comes into competitive FNCS. But more importantly, I want to talk about the numbers, Vivid, because we already looked at it. But to round things off, almost 50 eliminations just for Veno.